Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate all of you joining us tonight as we are going to be talking aliens, ET contact, how to communicate with extraterrestrials. Kosta Makreas is here, and we are going to have a lot of fun with him tonight. Dirty Filth is here for another great cartoon, and all of you as well, which makes this even much more fun, including Sugar Britches in the gold medal position. Race Fan taking home the silver. And B with a nice bronze medal tonight. Hi, Penny Van and Chris 716. Laura Lobbs, how are you? Brown Dwarf, Lisa C. Human Carl. Good to have you here, Human Carl. Thank you for joining us. Dave Walters is here. Let's go, Giants. Let's go. Going to kick some Blazer ass this week, starting this weekend. That is for sure. All right, Kevin WIPF, how are you? D. Cohen, thanks for joining us. Donna, good to see you. Thurston Howell III, Dogface Simon. Kira is here. Kira will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Daryl Zerline, how you doing, man? Jenny, good to see you. Hi, Spacey Tree. And Marlena, Pixie Lara, Obi Flett, good to see you both. As we continue on with our roll call tonight. And who else do we have here? Area 51 and Les Paul Holland. Good to see you both as we continue on. And where are we here? Let's take a look. Emmy Tong, how are you? Good to have you back. Doug Shelby is here. The Doug Shelby has arrived, which means we can officially start this show. Me Woykin, how you doing? Welcome back to Mothman. Arlie, welcome to SOR Chat. And who else do we have here? Let's take a look. Sea Warrior Son, good to see you. And moving on here. And where are we? Pam Smith is here. Pam Smith will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. George Hernandez, good to see you. Hi, Richard Elmore. And Bones, how you doing, buddy? Where are we here? The Fifth World, welcome to SOR Chat. And Sandy B, nice to see you. Robert Lamoth and Jason, nice to have you both here. Gnome Squatch, Nancy Thames, the Cryptid Huntress, good to see you. Jessica, nice to have you here. Gizmo, good to see you as we continue on with our roll call tonight. Mama Susan, Leafson, 67. 67. Yeah, how can you tell it's almost hockey playoff time? Because we're getting into it. All right, Joshua S., nice to see you. And who else do we have here? Let's take a look. Derek Galloway, good to see you, my man. And Chris. Teen, good to see you. Kurt M., thanks for coming on in. We're going to wait for Bill WD40 to join us in the Spreaker chat, lubing us up for tonight's show, because that's what he does well. And who else is in our chat so far? Linda Bennett and Star Scarred. Good to see you both. All right, Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Hey, Javier, how you doing, buddy? From Cryptid 559, Eternity Eternal, good to see you. And let's see here. I think we are caught up on the people. And yeah, we're going to have a great show with Kosta Makreas tonight. And Dirty Filth is going to draw us another cool cartoon. And what else do we have here? Oh, there's Bill WD-40 right there. Right there. And who else jumped in there? I don't know. Was that Ronnie? I don't know. Let's take a look here. And Cat Chaser, thank you so much for kicking off the super chat tonight. We very much appreciate your continued love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Hi, Penny Van. And let's see, who was that? Oh, Jay Boogie. Welcome to SOR Chat. Bill WD-40 again. Thank you for lubing us up. Sparkles on Facebook, TMI. Lee the Bee, nice to see you all. And in about 10 seconds, I just want to remind you that our store is open on our website where you can get some great swag. And the rest of you, horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out the Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. A power show of woo tonight. We are going to learn how to talk with aliens with our guest, Kosta Makreas. And then in hour number 3, we are going to go to the swamp with our swamp dweller, giving us another spooky story. Then right after that, Travis Boostus is going to join us for the Cryptid Report. Kosta Makreas is an ET experiencer and founder of ETLetsTalk.com. The ETLetsTalk Community, the People's Disclosure Movement, the People's Love Alliance, and the Global CE5 Initiative all coming together under one roof. Costa is an international networker and creative artist working on behalf of harmonious relations between all life forms. He was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and earned his bachelor's in computer science, which led to a successful 4-decade software consulting career in Silicon Valley. But now, the man, the myth, and the beautiful haired legend is chasing aliens. Let's bring him on here, Spaced Out Radio. Makreas, thank you so much for coming on. And you know what? I feel bad. I feel bad that I actually missed you at UFO Con in San Francisco. You had stopped by and you went for dinner with great friends of ours of the show, Kira and her husband. And we didn't get a chance to meet up with you. But I wholeheartedly apologize about that.
Oh, there is no reason to apologize. I should apologize. Probably passed you in the hall, but didn't recognize you. Next time, we will we'll share a cup of tea or your favorite beverage together and then swap some stories. Count on it.
Absolutely. Because you know what? The one thing I always have time for, Costa, is aliens. Always got time. You know what? You got aliens. I got aliens. Many people in our audience got some aliens, and sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're not so good. But I think there's a lot more people with some aliens out there than we know.
Well, there are. The truth is millions of people have had encounters, for decades. But the problem has always been, at least in the U.S., I can't speak for other parts of the world because I wasn't born there and grew up. But in the U.S., so many people have had these experiences. Up until recently, you couldn't talk about it very much or at all in some cases because you'd lose your job. They call you crazy. People have been institutionalized, etc. So people had to hold back UFO encounters of all different kinds. And I know all this because for the 16 years I've been networking and creating the Let's Talk community and the People's Disclosure movement, I've been hearing stories from all over the planet, all the countries, from people, all walks of life who've had encounters and who are just now, many of them, coming out of that ET closet because times have changed enough, at least in the US and probably more in other parts of the world, where you can now more openly talk about your encounters and do it in a more safe in a safer manner than before. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal because I created the Let's Talk community, so it's a safe place for people to come and tell their stories, share their experiences and teach others and learn from others.
Let's learn a little bit about you, because this is the first time you've ever been on our show.
Yeah.
And I would love for our audience to get comfortable with you. When did your own experiences start?
Mine started in 2006, about 16 years ago. But what I should do is, Dave, is give you a little bit of a background, because it didn't just happen overnight, out of a vacuum. There was, like a lot of people, there's a progression for how we get to this point where we have an experience. In my case, I grew up in the Great American Midwest in Indiana in the early 60s and 70s. And those times in the United States were times of a lot of change, social, political change. And I was part of all of that. I grew up as a young child interested in astronomy, in the stars, science fiction. Back then, the NASA space program, the moonshots and all that. And yes, they were real, by the way. I know people who were connected to that, and we won't go down that path. But in those days, the imagination of the world was captured, and so was mine. So I'm a child of that time. I picked up my first UFO book probably when I was 10, and it was written by one of the contactees of what was then the contactee movement, which started in the 40s and the 50s, went on in the 60s and a little bit further. So there were some people who were fakes in that, but there were a lot of genuine people who had experiences. So I picked up one of those books, and there's all these great photographs in there of the classic disc-shaped object with a dome and all that, caught in different positions in different countries. And that really captured my imagination. And this is, again, before Photoshop and all that. Yeah, so I think people were onto a real thing. And kids like me were buying these books and saying, yeah, I know they're here. This is real. I want more. But in my case, I went and I had what I call a conventional life after that, which means I just went through school, went to university, got a degree, came out to California, the San Francisco area, got married, had kids, got divorced, got remarried, worked in the Silicon Valley, with the famous Silicon Valley as a software person, independent contractor. But in 2006, I decided to sit down, and I think I Googled UFOs because I wondered to myself, after all these years and after my childhood imagination had been fired up by stories of UFOs, what's going on in the field now? So I put UFO into the search bar there, and it was like drinking from a fire hose of everything that came back. I'm sure many of you can attest to that. I found a group there that would go north of here, where I am in the San Francisco Bay Area, and initiate contact on their own using meditation and consciousness visualization in a group format to proactively do what's called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is a human-initiated interactive communication, not something passive that just happens to you with Close Encounters of 1 through 4. The fifth one is different because you sit down and you say, I'm going to have the intention, going to use my mind, my heart, get together with some friends, and we're going to make contact. So that happened to me in 2006 when I joined a group like that. And during the week I was with them, I had 2 with a third experiences that changed my life. I can go into more detail about those, but that week was just pivotal because there's nothing like having your own experience. It's great to hear someone else who's had a disc fly over their car and the engine will stall and the light beams down and all that kind of stuff. And I know people that would tell me that along the way, and I would believe them because they were credible people to me, friends. But until you have your own experience, then you go from what I call being a believer into being a knower. And nobody can take that away from you. You can decide to hold it in if you're afraid to tell the story. You can decide to stand on a rooftop and shout to the world. Or you can do what I did. I decided to start creating an international community of people to start making this contact over the years, because I'm nobody special. I figured if an everyday guy like me could sit down with a bunch of people at the foot of Mount Shasta up in Northern California and summon these cosmic intelligences and have them show up in different ways. If I could do that, then I figured anybody could. So my job was to assemble people and create that community where people could learn to do that communication, and also have a safe place where they could share their stories with other people. And that's the People's Disclosure Movement. There's 1 million of us all over the planet, and growing, of people who are making the disclosure on our own. I can, like I said, I can talk a little bit more detail about the actual experiences. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, I would love to learn about your experiences. Everything seemed to fire off for you in the mid 2000s. For many people, that date doesn't surprise me, because for a lot of people, it seems that mid 2000s through 2014, a lot of new people established their contact right around then. And it just seemed to take off. Mine was in 2011. Geraldine Orozco's was in 2013. Many others seem to be around those dates. What is with that mid 2000s to mid 2010s that really fired everything up for a lot of people?
I don't have an answer for that, because that's the first time I've heard anybody articulate what you just said. And it's a happy thing to hear that. Off the top of my head, I don't know. Think about it. What we're dealing here with are higher intelligences from a lot of different places, in my humble opinion, who probably have been studying us for millennia and have started coming closer to us in the last few decades. And what is going on in their minds completely as to why suddenly there's this period of time in our way of reckoning time where, like what you just mentioned, where all these contacts start happening. They probably know why they're doing that. I can make some guesses. We do have communication with some of them, and what they tell me is that they want to be seen more and more. They really are asking for human beings to reach out to them in a positive, benevolent kind of way, because most of the civilizations out there are neutral or benevolent. I'm not saying that there aren't some that probably have selfish motives, but by and large, the greater number are here for positive reasons, and that's who our community has been contacting. And so what they've said was that, and actually said this to me in 2010, we have telepathic communication, and that's how many humans can interact with them. So what they said was, please create as many contact teams as possible in as many places as possible, as quickly as possible. And I said, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm kind of like an organizer. I like to organize people. I can try to do that. And I asked them, why do that? Or why do it that way? Why are you asking this instruction? And their response was, because as we would like more human permission to show up in more cities around the world. And if you all reach out to us using protocols, we will show up in more cities. And by doing that, even more humans will see us. And that gives us even more permission to show up in more cities around the planet. And they literally said in cities around the planet. And so my next question was, well, what's the end game for all that? And the answer was, well, someday so many people around the planet will have wanted contact with us, will have gotten it, that no authority of any kind can ever again cover up our presence the way that the cover-up has occurred for the last 70 plus years. And that's a people's disclosure. That's coming from the grassroots up, the way that many movements came up out of the United States in the 60s and 70s when I was growing up. This is the most cosmic movement involving worldwide people, more than 1 million and growing, where we're spinning the disclosure. And it's like we own the future now because we're creating the disclosure. Well, and as a matter of fact, the way that my star friends put it was a tipping point would be reached where, again, we were moving into the future where nobody could shackle us to the past of being victims and being told that we're crazy and all that, because we're doing our own contact and we're telling our friends and they're doing their own. And we're bypassing authorities who are trying to create the narrative for us and instead creating our own narrative and our own future. It's really in our hands. We've taken our power back because we've given it to others before that, asking them for disclosure, asking some government, a prime minister, a president, a premier to make that announcement and say, yeah, they're here. They've been here for decades. Sorry, we were lying to you. Not waiting for that. The People's Disclosure has been all about folks like you and me, Dave, and your people in your audience who know how to make this contact and share it with their friends and just grow our own movement and bypass all the control games and all the power games that are played on us. So, we own the power. That's what they wanted, was to reach that tipping point. And the thing is, they told me a couple years ago that in 2019, we did reach that tipping point. Now, in 2010, when I first got these instructions about building contact teams, I asked them, when will the tipping point happen? And it's above my pay grade. If they knew, then they weren't telling me. And the other part of it is human free will. If they're relying on us to do the activating, right? Human beings are capricious beings, and we can decide to do something or not to do something. So our free will could slow down the day of the tipping point, or they could speed it up depending on how we wanted to react as people. So when I was told that in 2019 we actually reached that tipping point, the way they described it was, imagine a snowball at the top of a hill and it's rolling downhill. It can't be stopped. And that's what our movement is about right now, our People's Disclosure movement. It's that snowball rolling downhill that can't be stopped. And our movement, therefore, according to my star friends, has exceeded every expectation that they had of it. And so we have sped up the time of full open contact when they can come on the earth in greater numbers.
Costa, I want to ask you about the whole disclosure movement, because for a lot of us out there, we are looking at it as, at least on this show, and what I've tried to teach my audience, anything we're getting out of the United States government or governments around the world is confirmation. It's not disclosure. And it is something that is very fixed. To me, disclosure means disclosing everything, from what happened at Roswell and beforehand to what happened at the Phoenix Lights and everything in between right up until now. And there's a lot of military games being played regarding that. Are you in the belief then that disclosure comes from the experiencer or the aliens themselves?
I think it's a partnership. The star people are waiting for us in large numbers, and they have been, and have asked, as I was just describing, for us to reach out to them, and they will reach back and create what's called a virtuous circle. So I believe it's a partnership. It is coming from us, we the people. And if nothing else in this show, Dave, that I leave with people, I want to leave this thought that we in the People's Disclosure movement, and any of you can be part of it, are part of the greatest cosmic movement of all human history. Because think about it, it's the breaking out from our little planet into the wider cosmos, where there are innumerable civilizations that want to interact with us. So we are part of that movement, and I consider it a real honor that I could be part of it, and that I know other people like yourself and thousands of others who genuinely want this heartfelt connection to what are really our cosmic families. And so that movement is something I really want people to take away in appreciation, that we're doing it. Nobody else is doing it for us. It's going to move just as fast as we want to, and everybody can join as long as, like I like to say to you, as long as you have an open heart, an open mind, a positive vibration. That is the frequency that is set up that allows the star people to meet us halfway and create a telepathic communication, create a relationship with them that will grow over time. And that's really what we're about, is this great people's disclosure movement. I find it real exciting. It gets me up in the morning with enthusiasm, and I get to talk to people all over the world who are having contacts and experiences that I could only dream of, and relaying them to me and sharing them with each other. So if this isn't the greatest and coolest party that you've ever been part of, I don't know what is, because it's a positive, life affirming kind of thing where we're reaching out to the cosmos and it's reaching back.
Yeah, and I can see that, and I can see where it's happening from a humanity level. I don't see it happening from a government level. Where do you see that portion of this so-called disclosure movement in Washington, D.C.?
Well, it's not only in Washington, but I suppose any group, and it doesn't have to be even a political government, but any group that wants to tell the rest of us what to believe about something, well, they have motives. And sometimes those are very self-serving motives. They're not for the greater good of we the people. And that's why we the people finally just take the control back and do our own disclosure. I believe that, say, when the military makes a commentary, for example, on fighter pilots producing a video that shows something that's got them going, geez, wow, and real excited because they know that it's not one of ours, it's not one of theirs, it must be something unknown. The military's job is to protect. And to a certain point, I understand their point of view, which is they're a hammer. And when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Everything that's out there that they don't know how to identify is a threat. So they have to treat it as a threat. And that's what we hear is like, it's unknown, it's a threat, be afraid, be very afraid. That's not really the narrative that we want to spin here, but I'm just trying to explain that's what's going to come out of official circles, because they have a vested interest in wanting to control that narrative. But you know what? The rest of us, by the thousands, by the millions who've had our personal encounters, most of which have not been threatening and which have been up close and personal, even talking to beings and stuff, we're not being allowed to tell our stories because we don't own the airwaves. So what we've had to do in the People's Disclosure Movement is tell our stories to each other. We've been using social media to connect with each other and build our power that way.
Kosta Makreas is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We got about 1 minute before we have to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. And Kosta, for you, learning all of this and being able to have contact, how has this been? And remember, we only got about a minute here. How has this been life-changing for you?
I tell you, I was just your average computer scientist until 2006, a father, a good citizen, etc., living what I thought was a good life. I had 2 up close and personal encounters that I mentioned before at Mount Shasta. And suddenly it happened to me. It wasn't someone else's story that changed my life. I left from that week of making contact going, okay, I know what I want to do for the rest of my life. And that's build a community, teach other people how to do what, and have experiences like what I just experienced, because I think it's really cool. That's how it changed my life. It just changed the trajectory, gave me something to do that was fulfilling.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And I can't wait to learn more in the next half hour from you, Kosta Makreas, because, when it comes to ET contact, talking about it and opening up about this incredible subject is something we all need to do, especially if you want to learn more, because the one thing that is guaranteed through all of this, no 2 experiences are alike. For some reason, they are never alike. And we're going to learn more about ET contact. What is it like to talk with aliens? Kosta Makreas is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We will be right back right after this. All right, we are clear. And now we just get to hang out for a few minutes and
This
see what
is
dirty
good.
filth. See what dirty filth is drawing here. Oh, it's a nighttime scene. Hi, Pay Parker. How you doing? And don't forget, if you have questions, we will take questions in hour number 2, and please put them in capital letters. Pink Volo, good to see you. Rocket 9, how are you, man? Shade Viking, welcome back. Deb from SAG, thank you for the super chat. Ems Wills, welcome to SOR chat. And that one guy, welcome. Yes, everybody, just so you know, we do know that Costa's audio is not matching up with his video. We were trying to correct that before the show, and unfortunately couldn't do it. But hey, it's better than no show, and we're gonna get a great show tonight as it continues. Let's see here. Blue Cruise, nice to see you. And did I miss anybody? I won't mention my buddy Timber Hunter, aka Little Marky Spender, because he decided to text me and tell me that he was eating ice cream sandwiches and refused to bring one over to me. He lives like a mile and a half down the road. You think he would get up off his lazy boy and bring old Davy an ice cream sandwich. But no. He doesn't want to do that. Doesn't want to do it. Filth, would you drive from Edmonton to deliver me an ice cream sandwich?
I'll head out Friday after work, Dave.
Thanks, buddy. And I will get you a slice of pizza for that. Hi, Zune. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're a real friend, Filth. A real friend. And don't forget the Stanici sausage.
I'll stop in Vegreville first, I promise.
Thank you. Because I'll be honest with you, after Ukrainian Easter and my Pascha is blessed, my dad's out of sausage, so we got to order some more.
Got you covered, buddy. Don't worry.
I appreciate that. Dutch Hank, how you doing? And anybody else? We're going to put Shade Viking to sleep here. I'm going to sleep in like 5 minutes. SOR is my new late night rendezvous. Welcome, my man. Let me check that photo here. Hold on. That looks like we almost have a mullet going. Shade Viking, is that a nice mullet you're growing there? Because if it is, that is impressive. I am not eating frozen Greek yogurt between graham crackers, ever. Pat Toohey, how you doing? I will have you know, and here's some truth factor. I was asked before the show if I wanted anything from the store, if I wanted a treat, and I said no. I said no. Discipline, I tell you. I have my water. That's all that matters. By the way, we've got about 32 people confirmed for Las Vegas on May 19th through 21st, 2023 for the second annual Vegas Fan Party. We want to see you there. I was talking to Uncle Jimmy Goodall earlier tonight, who's very excited about coming to the party. And you know what? I'm excited too. We're going to have you all there. We're going to be there. River Dogma, try again. If not, go to spacedoutradio.network@gmail.com. It's on the ticker down below on our screen, spacedoutradio.network@gmail.com. Hi, James Weston. And we'll get everything sorted out that way because we have had a little bit of an email issue with everything. We got about 45 seconds, Costa. I hope you're comfy. You're looking good. That's a nice shirt you got on with that hair. Matches the hair perfectly.
I came accessorized, I guess. Thank you.
Oh,
that was an accident. Trust me.
No. It's all good. Hey, Javier, have you convinced the wife to come to the Vegas party? Have you convinced the wife? I thought I had her convinced in San Francisco. Dave looks like he needs to eat a stick in his mouth. Why? Why do that? Thank you to our super chatters, Deb, Sally, and Cat Chaser. Very much appreciate the love and support. It's a great way to support what we do. Ozzy, oi, oi to you. Hi, Blob. And here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We have a great show tonight as our good guest, first time on Spaced Out Radio, Kosta Makreas is our guest. His website, ETLetsTalk.com. And Costa, thank you so much for joining us. Very much appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here, Dave, and to meet you finally.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited about it because I love talking aliens. I do.
Well, you're talking to one. You know, where do you think this hair came from? It wasn't born. It landed, That's a joke.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling because mine took off about 4 months ago, back up into space, and it just has never come back. Okay. I think it's somewhere near Elon Musk's Tesla car right down on the other side of the sun. But nonetheless, the idea behind communication with extraterrestrials is a lot for many people out there to fathom and a lot to put any trust or belief into. How did this communication start with you?
Good question. Mine was in a gentle way that was totally acceptable to any fear I had or any preconceived ideas, and then it still surprised me. I will relate two experiences to you during the week that I opened up with a whole group of people that I mentioned earlier before up in Mount Shasta in Northern California in 2006. We were learning as a group to sit in meditation and to do the CE5 protocols, the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, where we use our imagination, our group bonding, our visualization, and to raise our frequency, if I can get really new age on people here, and love, which is, I think, the highest frequency of all, and to reach outward into space and see what would happen. So during that week I was there, we were having response. We would learn how to recognize in the sky objects flashing, moving around, zigzag, stopping, shooting off, all kinds of things that normal aircraft could not do. So we were experiencing all that, and it was wonderful. I was like a fifth grader, just delighted. But then I had my first up close and personal experience. I was standing around with about 9 other people after an evening of making contact. Most of the group had already gone home, and we were standing in a clearing at the foot of the majestic Mount Shasta, surrounded by trees. And we're talking about what had gone on that night. And then someone tugged on my sleeve and pointed off about, let's say, 6-8 feet from me. There at the edge of the wood, I looked and had to kind of rub my eyes, like, am I seeing something? But, well, I was seeing something, but it wasn't supposed to be there. Materializing in front of me was a sphere of about 3 foot in width. And it was just kind of coming out of nowhere and getting more solid until it was just floating above the ground, maybe a few inches. And there was no noise, no smell, no vibration, no nothing. But this sphere was there, and it was opaque and gray. I couldn't look inside of it. The rest of our group were also looking at it. And kind of murmuring to ourselves, like, what was this? Well, clearly, I think it was a response to the contact that we had been making as a group. Only this time it was really close by. It wasn't up in the sky. So there's this 3-foot sphere floating there. And then one of the group members suddenly said to the rest of us, hey, I just got a telepathic message from the beings that are inside of this small thing, which we think is really part of a larger craft, much larger, but all we're able to see is just this smaller portion. And this being inside told me that they are scientists and that they're here to study the human energy system. And so upon hearing that, I thought, that kind of makes sense. That's exploration. Human beings have been doing that since we were invented, right? And it's not unusual for a cosmic civilization to be here. So this was not a scary thing at all. Someone had gotten this message. So I turned to talk to the woman to the right of me, who I call Gloria, not her real name, who had become a friend of mine during that week. She's a really good psychic. And I turned to speak to her, but I found that she was almost like in a trance, just standing straight as a board with her arms out at right angles and not moving at all. And I thought, wow, something's going on here. I'm not going to interrupt it, but I'm going to stay close by in case she shows any signs of distress. Well, half an hour later, she did show signs of distress. She just kind of got wobbly. And I steadied her by the shoulders and I said, Gloria, do you know your name? Do you know where you are? How many fingers am I holding up? That kind of thing. And she said, I'm fine. I'm disoriented. And I asked her, what just happened? For half an hour, you've been standing there while we've been watching this sphere just sitting there and not making any noise, not doing anything. It's clearly there. What was going on with you? And she said, well, the being inside approached me psychically, telepathically, and spoke to me. It, we don't know, asked me if it could merge with me and study my energy system. And I thought, well, that kind of makes sense. That's what we were told earlier, that they're here to do some study. And this woman standing next to me actually had a request made of her. So I said, okay, go on, tell me the story. And she said, well, I had 3 conditions. Now, imagine this happening to you, that you get this being, that you're having this experience, and it says, may I merge with you? A lot of people would run away with their hair on fire, get in their car, drive back home and call it a night. But, to her credit, she not only stood there, but she negotiated with it. And she said, you may do the merging that you want, but I have 3 conditions. The first condition is that I stay conscious of where I am. I don't want to be knocked out and unaware of my surroundings. And the being telepathically said to her, I agree. Her second condition was that when she told the being it's time to unmerge, to leave, that it would go. No questions asked. You go, I'm superior in my space, kind of thing. And the being agreed to that. The third and final condition was that there was to be no messing around with her sexual organs, no probing down in that area at all. And she was, quite serious about that. It's like, these are my limits. You don't go there. And the being agreed to that. So during the half hour that she was standing there not moving is when apparently some experimentation, energetic, was being done with this being who was kind of merging with her. And at the point where she became wobbly and that I had to steady her was the point where she told the being, okay, it's time to go. And it left. And then she and I and the others watched this sphere still floating above the ground just slowly start dematerializing into thin air, just like a slow fade out. And it was gone, just as quietly and as mysteriously as it came. And then we had this experience. So what do you do with something like that? If you're a left brain scientist, like I had been trained, in physics and logic and all that, what I had just seen and experienced with other people around me, this was not a hallucination, was out of the box. So it forced me to open up my thinking. And I realized, if I can do this, or we can do this, if we can manifest some experience like this, anybody can do this. And as I mentioned before, that changed my life because I realized I want to teach other people and find, homies out there who've had these experiences so I can learn more and share this stuff. So that was life altering. That's what I call up close and personal. The other experience that week was before I had gone on this 6-day journey to join other people and learn how to make this contact. I had asked my wife, hey, would you come with me? And she said, I've got 2 businesses to run. She's an entrepreneur. I know that they're here, she said to me. I know it's a big, huge cosmos. It's stupid to think that we're alone. And of course, I believe they're here, but I don't see what it's got to do with my personal life. I got bills to pay and businesses to run. So go with my blessing, have a good time, have fun, but I'm staying home. I said, fine. I went, and I was calling her every morning from Mount Shasta back home where we live in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I would tell her every morning what we had seen the night before, because I was learning all this stuff, flashing in the sky, orbs in the trees, telepathic messages. It was wonderful. But about the 4th morning, just before I could describe to her on the phone what we had seen the night before, she stops me and she said, wait a minute, I've got a story to tell you. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, you're back home. What could be cooler than what I experienced last night? Ha! I was wrong. It was. She said that she was in our bedroom. She had just turned off the light. She was in bed and she was just settling down to go to sleep. Now, she has really good night vision, like a bat. She's also a professional clairvoyant who has internal clairvoyant vision. But what I'm about to describe to you, she tells me she saw with her physical eyes. Even though the light was out, she sees well in the dark with her physical eyes. What she saw in that moment was 4 or maybe 5 beings standing at the foot of our bed. They were 3.5 feet high. They were white, like translucent, with big heads, big almond-shaped eyes, kind of a slit for a nose, and maybe not much of a mouth. But they had a skinny neck. She saw shoulders and parts of arms and a torso. And the rest of their lower body, she assumes they were bipedal because the edge of the bed where they were standing behind was hiding the rest of their body. So they were physical enough that something as physical as our bed was hiding the rest of their body. So they were like, materialized into our space. So there they were. And this is the woman who fell asleep in Star Wars, my wife. No interest in science fiction or fantasy or anything. Even though she was a NASA geek as a kid, she really wasn't interested in this. And suddenly she's confronted with this. And she says to me, I was not afraid because there they are standing there looking at me. And in her mind, she heard them say telepathically in a sing-song fashion, who are you? And she said she couldn't be afraid of that because there were these waves of love coming off of them. And she could just feel it, and it was uplifting her, just love. So even though she wasn't afraid, she was still kind of speechless until they said, who are you? And she thought to herself eventually, I need to ask them something, We're sitting here, all of us staring at each other. So she asked them, well, telepathically again, where are you from? To this day, she says a better question would have been to ask them, how did you get here? Which she's an engineer too, and that would have been a cool kind of answer, but she didn't. Where are you from? She asked. And slowly, she says, in her mind again, telepathically, in a sing-song fashion, came the answer to that question. And what they said was, Arcturus. And then they faded out, and they were just gone. And so she says to me, because she hadn't been an astronomy buff like I had been, she says, Arcturus, is that a star? Is that a place? And I said, yeah, it's like Astronomy 101. It's a hyper red giant in the constellation. I think it's pronounced Bootes. And so it's a place. It's a star. And yeah, that's what they told you. And she said she never thought this was possible, this experience. But her reply to, or rather her commitment then was, she says, next year, I'm coming with you when you do this again. So I want to thank my Arcturian friends out there, wherever they are, because they showed up in person and they changed her dynamic. They changed her mind about wanting to do more of this, because what she said was, now it's personal. This has happened to me. And again, that's the kind of thing that changes your life. You have to decide what you're going to do with it. Be quiet, pursue it, be neutral, whatever.
I want to ask you, because it seems like your communication with the extraterrestrials has been full of what we hear about the majority of people, where it's been very peace, love, and light, very much about learning and understanding and trying to bring some goodness to everything that is out there. Yet for some people, the contact of extraterrestrials is absolutely nightmarish. How come some people get the short end of the stick here?
I can't speak to everybody's experience. I don't discount people's experiences because I don't want to be judged for mine, so I don't judge other people's. I don't have an answer for every single one of the people that might have something negative happen. I do know from my contacts that the positive civilizations that are here far outnumber any others that might have less than stellar, no pun intended, motives towards us. What I would say to people who want to try the communication, if you have fear or skepticism, really hard kind of, that skepticism, don't try this communication. You like attracts like. It's about vibration. You will attract most likely lower vibrational beings. That holds true in the paranormal realm, not just the ET contact. People who meditate or who draw themselves negative entities that are interdimensional here on Earth and all that. The same laws apply. If you have a low vibe, a fear vibe, and such, a paranoia, you're probably going to attract those kinds of experiences. So don't do that. Doctor, it hurts when I do this. What should I do? Don't do that, says the doctor. And that's what I recommend. Now, things still happen to people. The only thing I can throw out and I like to quantify stuff, Ray Hernandez and his group of PhDs did a massive study of this kind of contact. And they found that contrary to what the narrative is out there, that abduction rules the roost, they found that from the thousands of people that they evaluated as part of their research, something like 86% of them said that the contact experience was positive or neutral
Yes.
at worst. And some of the rest could be explained away by the fact that it was a new experience and they were just frightened. I mean, nothing bad actually happened to them, but it freaked them out. So that's legitimate to be freaked out, if something you don't expect. So that was the negative part. I can't speak to the rest of the percentage. I'm not an expert in that, but I'm going with the 86%.
I have a question to ask you, because this actually came up on the show last night, because Tom DeLonge of the To the Stars Academy and, of course, Blink 182 fame. Did you know that prior to the announcement of the To the Stars Academy, that DeLonge actually tried to purchase the statistics from the free experiencers from Ray Hernandez? And yet Tom is on this kick with Peter Levenda about how all aliens are bad. We got to nuke them before they get here. That's why they have an interest in our nuclear missile silos. They're afraid of them and they don't want any of that. And I think he was going to bury the statistics if Ray would have sold them.
I did not know that. I know Ray is a dynamic, really dedicated, selfless person, doing the research that he does. But it's news to me that Tom DeLonge was trying to purchase that from Ray. And good on Ray, wherever you are, dude, for not selling those, because that kind of research belongs to all of us. It belongs in the public eye, transparency, because those are amazing statistics, and I don't pay attention to people like Tom DeLonge who try to do stuff like that. It's not worth my time and energy, because I'm too involved with thousands of people who are wanting to be transparent and who know that by and large, their experiences are positive. They're not afraid. They're curious. They want to explore. They're experimenters. And that's what mostly our community is. So again, good on Ray for not selling out his research there, because it goes counter to the narrative that Tom DeLonge and others really wanted to push.
And I would agree with you on that. We got 4 minutes to go before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Kosta Makreas is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Costa, the fact that you have been some of the lucky ones who have had good contact, has any of them ever talked to you about the Galactic Federation ship that's allegedly sitting somewhere behind the moon, watching everything that's happening on Earth?
That specific ship, no, I've not heard anything. I haven't asked. There's a lot going on that's, again, above my pay grade. If I get an opportunity, I'll ask about that. Now, on that same topic, though, do I believe like there's Galactic Federation and all that? Why not? I mean, if we imperfect human beings on this planet form groups, tribes, teams, alliances, confederations, etc., why wouldn't cosmic beings who have similar goals and intentions and methods also form federations and alliances and all that? That is perfectly normal to me. It's beyond any debate that they would do that. And so if that ship is out there, I'm sure that it's doing good. My guess would be that it's not the only one. If you mentioned one behind the moon, one time my wife, who I mentioned before, is psychic. She's a practicing psychic of 30 years, a professional. She's very good at what she does. We were doing what we call a sky watch. We had done our meditation with our group, and we were having contact in the skies. She tugs on my sleeve and pointed at a small part of the sky. And I want to, people who could see this, I'm holding my fingers maybe like a ½ inch or an inch apart, just a small part of the sky. And she said, "Look there." Now, all I saw was a couple stars. What she saw on her sight was the sky unzipped itself, this little portion, like a suitcase that has three, that you pull the zipper on three sides, and it flapped open. And what she saw there was spaceships, different colors, different sizes, crammed up together. She said it was like a parking lot up there. She was allowed to see through their cloaking for couldn't have been more than a few seconds, but she knew exactly what they were. She saw them with her eyes, and she said, "Oh my God, it's a parking lot up there." And then the thing zipped itself back up. So I believe that they allowed her to have a look at how many of them there are here. And that's my answer to the Galactic Federation ship behind the moon. If it's there, that's possible. It's not the only one. There are a lot of civilizations that are here. And every now and then we get an experience like what my wife had, where you actually get a sense of how many of them are visiting here.
It really is. And the reason why I bring that up is we got a minute to go. I found it very ironic where a couple weeks ago, the director of Arrow, Sean Kirkpatrick, wrote a blog with Harvard physicist Avi Loeb about the fact that they believe that there was potentially a mothership hanging out in our solar system that was dropping off space probes and little satellites. And I'm thinking to myself, isn't that what everybody's been talking about with this Galactic Federation ship that's supposed to be hanging out somewhere around the moon? It just sounded way too coincidental for me, my man.
I love hearing things like that. Respected scientists, anytime that they break out of their mold, break out of the box they're in, and allow for what you're describing, the kinds of thing you're describing, and even to theoretically say that it's possible, that's a big step forward. Because usually the scientific mind, the traditional, wants to say, no, can't go faster than light, nothing's there.
Costa, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are through the first hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Kosta Makreas is our guest. His website, ETLetsTalk.com. Spaced Out Radio's Hour 2 with your questions is next. All right, we are clear. Let's turn things over to Mr. Filth here so he can show off his cartoon. And Costa, we're going to be out for about 6 minutes here. I'm just going to step away for a couple minutes. I'll be right back.
All right.
Once again, I forgot to turn the microphone back on. It's been a pretty interesting show tonight so far.
Am I able to talk to Dirty Filth here?
Yeah, you're still live on YouTube.
Okay. I'm just watching you and wishing I had talent to draw things, but just watching this creation coming into being.
Perfect. Usually I just draw cartoons and yes, it works out perfectly in the end most of the time. Always.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been drawing on the show for about a year, but I've been drawing cartoons for as long as I've been alive, since I could pick up a pen.
Got it. Love it. Yeah.
I was probably a terror as a wee lad at my mom and dad's house. Crayons all over the walls and everything, probably.
I had a vision there of you, of the walls. Yeah. Why not? I've actually I sent Dave a picture of a space person that we captured. A friend of mine captured a picture of, and maybe he can share it with you.
Sure, definitely. Might have to give it a cartoon drawing of some sort. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I get to sit here. I used to just draw cartoons and listen to the show, and then one day Dave's like, "Hey, you should draw cartoons on the show." Sure, why not?
And you do this every night?
Most of the time, depending on how. Except for Fridays. Definitely Fridays. That's the only class I can get for life drawing. I was advised by a good friend to take up some more life drawing classes. Yeah, just drawn cartoons for a long time. It's a ton of fun. Everybody gets a kick out of it.
Yeah. Does that say ETTUBE? The text on the phone there?
UBR.
Oh, UBR.
Call extraterrestrials, or an Uber of some sort. And maybe you'll get a ride home from someone somewhere.
That's what he's doing. That's cool. And that's what the craft is above there coming to pick up.
That craft might be going for somebody else.
Oh boy.
He's gonna get like a rowdy, I don't know, some kind of reptilian of some sort.
Just his luck,
spare
right?
change. Yeah. I think I left my wallet in your car. No, you didn't. Get out. Clunk.
Before I eat you.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's a cartoon to me, so.
Of course. You probably find it hard to look at any part of life without finding an angle to it of humor or something unique. That's been my experience with people who, who draw, who paint, who write, creatives.
That's pretty much it.
That's what we do.
I go somewhere, got to scribble on paper, draw cartoons. I stopped vandalizing bathroom stalls and bus stops a long time ago.
That was you. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I called a few of those numbers, and boy, Just kidding. Just kidding.
I can't talk any further without my attorney present.
Oh my. Oh my. All right. Big thank you to Cat Chaser, Sally, and Deb for the amazing super chats. The super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you so much. Hey, if you haven't got your tickets for our Las Vegas party yet, you're still debating whether or not to come. We've got about 37 people coming so far. We want to hit at least over 40. So we have lots of room for all of you down in Vegas, May 19th through 21st at the Golden Nugget. And we want to have all of you there to celebrate with our fans and our friends on the show and our guests. Dirty Filth is going to be there handing out cartoons, and there might even be a door prize for one of them. One of the big ones. Yeah, you definitely want one of those. So go to spacedoutradio@gmail.com, spacedoutradio@gmail.com, and email Kat to book your tickets. And don't forget, if you're looking for some cool swag, go to our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we got plenty of cool swag for you. A plethora of cool swag. We're going to get going here in about 10 seconds. Dirty Filth, we're going to mute you up. And here we go. About 5 seconds, everyone.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter @Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here goes hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight we're talking aliens. And man, are we loving tonight's topic du jour. Want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live at KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Balbriggan. Balbriggan is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter @SpacedOutRadio, Instagram @SpacedOutRadio Show, and on TikTok @SpacedOutRadio. We got a great guest for you tonight, living with ETs, man. Yeah, Kosta Makreas is our guest, and he's got a website called ETLetsTalk.com. Definitely want to check it out. And I'm telling you, if you can have contact with extraterrestrials, what would you say to them? What would you want to know? Costa, thank you so much for rejoining us tonight. We very much appreciate it.
You're very welcome. I am happy for this opportunity to get to know you and to talk to your audience.
Absolutely. What is it like to have an intimate conversation? And when I mean intimate, in learning about ET life and what they want and humanity and everything, what's that like to have that in-depth conversation?
It is inspiring to me because you have to admit our world is in trouble half a dozen different ways, right? And it's easy to be a person who's in despair, negative about what's going on, right? And the fact, do we have a future as a species? Contact with a higher intelligence whose civilization has probably been at the threshold where ours is, that it can destroy itself, or it can have a breakthrough or a breakdown. But to talk to an intelligence whose civilization has had a breakthrough, for example, and who has been able to go to the stars and talk to people like us, wow, what's there not to learn? There's a science, there's curiosity that can be fulfilled. There are questions that can be answered about relationships, about the cosmos, about life elsewhere. That's what it's like. It's I liken it to discovering as a human being that you have, let's say, a cousin that lives across the sea on another continent that you never knew you had, but suddenly you become aware of them and that you can communicate with them. Well, this cousin might be further along the path, might be a bit older than you and has experienced more of life. For you and for me, it's exciting to have an ally like that, someone to talk to who's had more experience, who can maybe guide you with problems that you have, answer questions that you have in a family kind of way. So that's the way that I look upon the relationship, and that's the way that our cosmic friends want to form with us. It's a partnership, a relationship. They told me way in the beginning that we should not look on them as gods. Definitely. They just said, basically, we're family. We're elder brothers, sisters, and cousins. And that right there set the tone for me, for all the communication I had afterward and for all the work I did in the years following. It's the family thing. You know, I have a Greek background. Family is important, you know, so for me, that was an extension into the cosmic family. And I think a lot of other people can relate to that. So anything that you would want to learn from someone who's a little bit older and wiser, having that intimate conversation, if you can get it and develop it, there's just so much that enhances your life, gives you optimism that we can make it, that we can have the breakthrough, not a breakdown.
Very good question. Very good answer to that. Thank you so much. I got a couple of audience questions here regarding our audience wanting to know from you. Derek would like to know what you know about the Galactic Federation. We talked a little bit about it right before the break. Just your thoughts on it all.
Well, I do believe that they're out here, and there may be more than one federation. Keep in mind, our human mind should not limit what we think is out there or what is here. I do believe that, like I said before, that there are federations. If human beings can form societies and alliances, why wouldn't cosmic beings do the same thing? So they may have, in fact, they say that they've come here, the ones that we've contacted, by and large, have come here because they love us. And I know that sounds hokey and cliche-ish and like it should be a Hallmark movie or something, you know, but nonetheless, think about it. What's going to get our world through the crises that we're in right now? You know, for millennia, we human beings have been fighting each other over territory, over differences in skin color and language and whatever. And now we're on the verge of, with the nuclear war, being able to destroy our planet in about 45 minutes. And that's no exaggeration. These civilizations, they've told us, are here because they're here out of concern for how close we are to that precipice of destruction or breakthrough. And they want to help on the positive side to show us that the federations out there have made the breakthroughs. They have fantastic technologies that they want to share with us, medical, spiritual technologies, environmental technologies that can create a golden age on Earth with us as partners, not as gods, not ruling over us, but as partners. That's what they want. So, yes, I do believe in the Galactic Federation, and people can reach out. They want to communicate. I would tell people, develop your telepathic abilities. I'm sure you can go online and find places to learn, books to read, and all it takes is practice, really. And anybody can do that. If you've got a brain and you're a human being, telepathy is possible, and it's the universal kind of language. The cosmic people most easily use that with us, and it's kind of cool when it happens to you. It may have happened to you, like if you're really close with someone, like with my wife, I'm telepathic, for example. We're always finishing each other's sentences, and it's not because we know each other so well. There's times when we're talking about a topic that's not even into this, or when a topic comes up, it's not even part of our discussion, and we share an immediate thought together. That's telepathy. That can be developed. It's a skill like anything else, and our cosmic friends are waiting for us to be able to use that and to talk with them until a time that they're going to come to Earth in full open contact and be able to share openly with us. So telepathize. It's a real thing. It exists.
Let's go to Pay here. Have you ever spoken with elders of First Nations regarding their ET friends?
No, I have not, but I have followed articles here and there of them. I know the Lakota Sioux, as well as many others, have creation myths, not myths, but I think, real historical knowledge that's been passed down over the generations of contact with star nations. So definitely believe in that. I would love to talk to an elder because I think they would have a lot to share. And what's cool is you grow up in one of those societies, native societies, and the fact that there are beings from the stars that have been among you is just taken for granted. It's not the weird thing that we have to break out of a box to believe here in our Western civilization. That interaction with cosmic societies is just normal. It's part of their rituals. It's part of their history in the First Nations. So yeah, I would like a contact. And if you, the person who asked this, has had the opportunity to have a conversation like that, you're very lucky.
Absolutely. I would agree with you on that. Let's go to M's. Do you think we will ever find out the truth?
Oh yeah. We will. We were born for that. We are the truth. It's within us. It's already there. We don't have to find it. We have to reveal what's inside of us. And this is the spiritual part of what I do. It's, for me, this Let's Talk, the People's Disclosure Movement, is not just about revealing the presence of physical or metaphysical craft that are out there, the lights in the sky. That's all very cool, and it's part of the equation there. But there's also the spiritual part. It's an acknowledgement that these societies have developed love. They're here, many of them, out of love for us, out of concern. And they maybe have found their own truths. If they've done it, why can't we? I really firmly believe that it's within us. And so this search in reaching out to these cosmic societies is not just for the technical and scientific marvels for me. It's also for the spiritual, for the sharing of love, for learning about what they did to be able to get along with each other so that maybe we could apply it here on Earth and create a better Earth in the process. Why not learn? It's not just about the material stuff. The spiritual stuff is important. And truth is right there. It's inside of you. Just ask for it.
Let's go to Dave. Have you tried remote viewing to make contact?
Yeah, I have. I've been in group settings where we practice that, and it's a very legitimate form of doing that. Going back to what Ray Hernandez and his team have produced, they've got further research into what they call the contact modalities. Remote viewing is one of those. Other contact modalities are some of the psychic gifts, their astral projection, out-of-body experiences. There's a lot of different ways to make contact. You just can't confine yourself and just say, this is the one way. I mean, that would be really limiting, wouldn't it? So remote viewing is one of those that certainly works. It's certainly worth pursuing and perfecting for making contact. Thanks for asking that. It's a good point.
All right. DOD wants to know, are or did the government work with First Nations and the non-humans behind the scenes, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's not my area of expertise, but what little information I do have about it is, yeah, sure, why not? Those civilizations can't possibly have been here this long without making approaches to various governments, because they're kind of probing who can work with them. We human beings aren't all evil or all trying to do a cover-up. There's certainly a lot of good-hearted people at all levels of governments and societies. Why wouldn't the non-humans want to approach those who could be allies? So I do believe, it's my opinion and what little knowledge I do have, that yeah, that kind of contact has occurred. People have come forward to me and mentioned that they have that kind of contact. Now, we all look forward to the day when that can happen on a fuller, open basis, so more people can see. Again, it's above my pay grade to know when that time will come, and a lot of it is probably dependent on our human free will. But certainly, individuals within governments or just private society have had personal contact like that. It would be more impossible to believe that they hadn't, in my opinion.
Okay, let's continue on here. Brown Dwarf wants to know, did you ever experience the Shasta Sasquatches?
No, but I do believe that they're there. I have friends who are quite the Sasquatch experiencers, not only in Shasta, but in like in Canada and other parts of the country. So I do believe in those beings as being interdimensional. I was at one place in, I think at East City Ranch that some people have heard of here, where a lot of sightings have taken place and where they have Sasquatch up there. Now that's not Shasta, but that ranch is north of Shasta, up in Washington. And I was with people who had quite close encounters with some of them, who actually saw them like disappearing in midair and lumbering along and picking up logs and throwing them around and things like that. That was pretty amazing. So I look forward to the day when, because we do go to Shasta to do our retreats, and I'm sure that I'll run into people who are experiencing and connected with the Sasquatch up there too.
Excellent. Let's continue on. We got a couple more. Linda wants to know, what about the reptilians? Are they here to protect us or study us?
I'm not an expert on them. Talk about a topic that really divides people and gets debates going. I don't focus on them because the civilizations I've encountered personally are Syrians, Pleiadians, Arcturians, and others. My mind is not made up about reptilians. I look at human beings, though. You can't cast all human beings as either good or bad. And I find it hard to believe that maybe with other races, you can universally say that one race is totally good or totally bad. They must have, different groups and subgroups that are not with the higher program. The reptilians may be like that. And again, I'm not an expert on them. And honestly, nor do I want to be. I'm mostly concerned with the civilizations that I know I've contacted and people around me have. But if people are curious, that's what our community is about. For those who want to explore the reptilian thing, have at it. I like to say that none of us has the whole truth about this extraterrestrial thing. And if anybody's trying to tell you that they have the whole truth, that they are the one that you should be following, run with your hair on fire in the other direction. Our community, ETLetsTalk Community, and the People's Disclosure Movement, we're crowdsourcing the puzzle of these societies. Each of us has a little bit of an experience. When we share it with each other, we learn a little bit more about the bigger picture. If a lot of us share together, we see a little bit more of the bigger picture. So the whole idea is to share and bring our own little piece to it. And hopefully we can evolve to understanding the larger picture of who all of them are out there and what they're doing here. We know what some of them are doing, but like I said, I don't think any of us knows the whole truth. But we're a community that's trying to find it.
Let's go to Rocket 9. Where do angels fit into all of this?
I firmly believe in angels. And there's some people that would say that conversing, seeing angels, interacting with them might be what people call ETs, star people as well. I don't think we can limit life and just say that it's all just physical in this 3D realm that we occupy. I firmly believe in higher dimensions and higher frequencies because I've also experienced beings from those areas. And if there are angels among them, that's fine with me because, again, we cannot limit creation. Just when you think you've created your little box and that you know everything, you can damn well be sure that you're probably wrong. And angels, I think, fit in. Go ahead, have conversations.
All right, let's continue on here. Christine is asking, Costa, do you see orbs or other beings regularly at home or mainly when you're outside in nature with meditation?
I'll see them at home, but it's been mostly outside in nature, which I love. And as a matter of fact, Dave, I don't know if you got the file that I sent you before we came on here. I sent you some pictures. And if you did receive that, one of them is a picture of me and some of my Shasta orb friends. If you're able to show that to the viewers, go ahead. And if not, I'll just have to describe it. Not that one. Yeah. You see that? That's me. Back in the day in 2006. That's at Mount Shasta. It's out in nature, out in the woods. And it was during the week that I joined 40 other people that I've been talking about on the show here, where I was learning to make contact. And for those of you who can't see this, well, let me tell the backstory real fast. During one of our breaks, as our group had been making contact, someone came up to me and they showed me a picture of themselves. And they said, "See those two orbs in the picture?" I go, "Yeah, what are those?" Back in 2006, I didn't know what those were. And the person told me, "Well, people are starting to see these in pictures. Some of them say they're ET, some of them say they're interdimensional, some of them say they're our ancestors, whatever, but they're starting to show up." And I go, "That's kind of cool. Can I get a picture like that?" So I asked my friend to take a picture of me and see what would happen. Well, I stood there, I smiled, picture got taken, and I looked at it, nothing. It was just me smiling in the woods. So I was a little bit disappointed. And then I had a thought like, okay, let's try this again. So my friend pointed the camera at me. And just before my friend clicked the shutter, I had this spontaneous, playful thought. In my mind, I took my right hand and I put it over my heart. And in my mind, I said, "I'm inviting any off-planet or on-planet beings of light to join me in this picture. I love you." And then as my friend clicked the shutter on the camera, I thrust out my right arm, which was over my heart. I just thrust it out to the right, kind of like in a ta-da gesture. I was having fun. I figured, what have I got to lose, right? I just invited them, ta-da. And so I asked my friend, "Well, did I get a couple of them this time?" And the person was gobsmacked and said, "Look what you got." And for those of you who can't see this, Dave, describe what you see.
On the photo, I'm looking at a bunch of orbs that, some of them even have images within them. But I mean, the skeptic out there would say maybe it was damp, maybe it was raining, maybe it was dusty out, maybe a car drove by and kicked up some dirt. I mean, for those who've experienced that, I mean, you were there with witnesses.
Yeah, and actually, several of us were pretty scientifically oriented because we looked at this and we said, let's try to reproduce this in a natural way, just to try to debunk it. I don't have any problem with that. So we threw up dust in the air. We took pictures. It was dry. There was no rain or anything in the air. We tried a couple different locations. We could not produce what you see here, which is basically me standing there with thousands of orbs around me in layers. And like you said, Dave, some of the orbs have images inside of them. So we tried to debunk it. We couldn't. So I stand by that story. We did what we could. And I was there. I know what we did. And there weren't cars. There weren't other things. This looks pretty natural to me. And in that time, since I published this picture around, people will send me some of theirs. So I get orb pictures all the time from people in the ETLetsTalk community. Some of them are as thick as the picture of me here with thousands of them. And I love it.
Me too. There's so many different paradigms that open up with just little pieces of things we don't understand.
And
Like
by the way, I should say that I took this picture and I accessed my spiritual guidance. I believe in guides and all that. And I asked my guides, "Hey, was that you in this picture?" And they said, "Yeah, that was us on planet and off planet. We showed up. You asked us." And they suggested that I take a hard copy of this picture of me with thousands of orbs surrounding me. They said, "Put a hard copy of this in your pocket. Whenever you feel lonely or depressed, pull it out and remember you're never alone."
Love it. We have another 30 minutes with Kosta Makreas tonight. ETLetsTalk.com is his website. more alien chatter right after this. All right, we are clear. This is awesome.
It's fun.
Let me just get over here. There we go. What did Dirty Filth get for us here tonight? Let's take a closer look. I need a lift, please. Very nice, Dirty. Very nice. I didn't know Uber did out of space.
But it's not Uber, it's LYFT, Lifted, that does it.
You got to call that extraterrestrial telecom there.
That's good stuff.
ETT, yeah.
A Yumi doll. I also had a cream soda slushie today. I did. And it was good.
I happened to notice there was a lack of Slurpees when I was in Vegas last year, Dave.
Dave loves his Slurpees. It's a weakness. Especially cream soda. Mm-hmm. Hey, it got up to 5 degrees Celsius here. That's a heat wave where I am. What am I supposed to do? I was damn near sweating. Are you right in the San Bruno area there, Costa?
Yes, I am. How do you know that?
By your email.
What a giveaway. San Bruno cable, yeah. Hey, we had an earthquake this morning, like maybe half a mile from my house. 6 miles deep, but it's kind of cool. No, kind of cool, kind of jolting, literally, when it happens, like right in your neighborhood, the epicenter. Because even here in the Bay Area, it happens all over the place. But when it's near your house, you're reminded that you live in California.
See, that's why I like living where I live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
The earth doesn't rumble here.
That's because it's flat, right? I mean,
no, I'm right at the top of the mountains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm right. How would you put it? If I were to go another 300 miles to my east, I'd hit the Rockies.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not even that far. Hold on. The Rockies about, what is it, about 6 hours? About 300 kilometers.
Okay.
No, not 300 kilometers. About 600 kilometers. Yeah, about 300 miles. Just over that.
So you don't have very many neighbors. You're a loner.
I live in an area where there's about 1,100 people.
Okay.
And I live in a cul-de-sac, so there's 8 houses on my cul-de-sac. But I mean, my neighbors are pretty awesome. But I mean, in 15 minutes, I'm lost in the forest.
Ah, got it. How close are you to Revelstoke?
Oh, about 5 hours southeast.
Oh, 5 hours. I thought if you were closer. I have a good friend out there, Dan Berg, in Revelstoke.
I know Dan Dan? Very well.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. What a great guy he is.
Oh, yeah.
He's turned a lot of Canadians onto CE5 out there, up in Sales Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Etc. for years. So shout out to Dan out there. Thank you for all the work he's done.
Yeah, Danny and I talk about once a month.
Have you ever gone on a CE5 with him?
No. I've never met him face to face yet.
Oh, okay.
We just have a lot in common. So, And apparently in the chat room, everybody's coming up to crash at my place this summer. So, yeah, I got room. I got room, Gizmo. Got to bring your own tent, though. Dave is a feral night creature, lives off wild geese and Mountain Dew. Not a big Mountain Dew guy, except Baja Blast is pretty damn good. Thank you to Cat Chaser, Sally, Deb, and Human Carl for the amazing super chats. Great way to support this show. We got Costa till the top of the hour. Here we go, everyone. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for joining us. Greatly appreciate it in your listening ears. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. Another great half hour coming up with Kosta Makreas. ETLetsTalk.com is his website. We greatly appreciate, Costa, you being here tonight and joining us. Thank you for that.
Yep. Thanks for the opportunity to meet a lot of new people here. Want to give a shout out to everybody.
Oh, yeah. We're absolutely loving it as well. With your ET contact that you've had and that you've been able to come across over time, the beings that you are involved with, are they the grays, what we would consider the alien grays? Are they more humanoid, like the tall blondes? What type of beings have you had interaction with?
Definitely humanoid. 2 arms, 2 legs, a torso. Not necessarily replications of us. For example, the beings that my wife saw, who identified themselves as Arcturians, they were the classic type 2 gray, which is what Clifford Stone, who we talked to, the late Clifford Stone, the beloved Clifford Stone, who cataloged different races, told us that what my wife saw in our bedroom here at home was what they had said were type 2 grays. You know, the large heads, the big almond eyes, skinny necks, skinny torso. So there are those. I could show you, I could tell you a story and show you a picture of one that we met that's humanoid. And I sent that to you also in email, and I can give you some of the background of it in order to answer your question.
Sure. Let me just bring it up for our YouTube audience here. For our radio audience, I mean, this looks kind of eerie and incredible at the same time.
Yeah, the backstory is that my wife and I had a friend back in when this would have been 2012, who identified herself as a Pleiadian in a human body very openly. She was a wonderful person and would always talk to us about how the fact that her father was a Pleiadian captain and had a starship, you know, like welcome to my world, right? I hear this stuff a lot. And she said that her father would show up for us if we did a sky watch. And so our group did a sky watch, and actually right over the San Francisco airport here, although I don't think it was right above the airport. They may have been out in space, but it was lined up with where the airport was. Our group saw a craft up there, a bright light that zigzagged, it stopped, it changed luminosity, increased brightness, decreased, changed position, hovered for like 45 seconds or something, long enough for everybody in the group to be able to see it. And we were just cheering. And so I asked my friend, this Pleiadian lady in a human body, name was Pam, was that like your father that you were talking about who showed up for us? And she said, yeah, that's him. His name is, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. It's Hirate, Hirate. So we were real excited at that. And then a few months later, we were again at Mount Shasta with the group. We were sitting totally in the dark in our circle doing our contact meditation that we always do. And she had told us, our friend had, that her father would again show up for that group. So I was excited at the prospect of that happening. However, as the night wore on, nothing happened the way that it happened for us here at home. We didn't see the ship that did those kinds of signatures moves that were clearly not terrestrial, so that everybody could see them. That didn't happen. So I was a little bit disappointed. So we're sitting there in the circle, totally dark. My wife, Hollis, is sitting next to me. And in the middle of our circle was a friend of ours who had a camera on a tripod, and he was always taking pictures of stuff that we'd see in the sky. Well, this friend at that moment yelled out, "Hey, look there, between and behind Hollis and Costa. Look at that." Suddenly I became real alert, whipped my head around, and there was nothing but darkness there. Hollis didn't see anything. Nobody else saw anything. We didn't know what this friend was talking about. He was real excited. And he said, "Come up here." So we walked to the center of the circle where his camera was on a tripod. It was a basic digital camera. And he had the little flip screen pulled out, the viewfinder that you use to take a picture. And we lined up, all the people, there must have been maybe 40 of us. We lined up to see what it was that he was so excited about, because we sure didn't see anything behind us there in the dark. As I looked at the viewfinder, what I saw, and what everybody else saw, was this picture here of a humanoid, which sadly your radio audience can't see. And maybe you want to try to describe it, Dave. And I ask you because I don't want to prejudice with my words what I think it is, but I'd like a fresh perspective on this multicolored picture that, by the way, you only saw in the viewfinder. That camera was pointed right where my wife and I had been sitting. So what our friend had seen and gotten excited about was this picture here. But if you moved your eyes from the viewfinder up a couple inches to look into the space where we had been sitting, it was still pitch black. You looked down at the viewfinder and you saw this full-on picture. You looked up and it was pitch black. So only the viewfinder recorded this. And so my friend sent me a copy of what I'm showing the audience here. So yeah, Dave, if you could describe what you see, maybe that would illuminate it for people.
Well, and I'm glad you asked me that. Thank you so much. To me, it looks like an upper body torso with a collared shirt on and no head attached to it. I mean, that's the image I get. Like, when I first look at it, I'm like, is that what it is? Is that an upper body torso with the head kind of turning off the side that's not really connected to the body? I'm not sure here.
Basically, that's what I see too. There's the torso there, and it's a really West one, and he's got lapels there, and it looks like a vest. There's different shades of blue, and it looks like on the right-hand side of that, it's like a shoulder. So it's not a complete picture of a torso, because it's like you're looking through a keyhole, which has a certain shape, and so you only see what you can see through the keyhole, not the whole figure. That's the impression I get of this. So maybe, in fact, the head is attached to the body here, but it's just that this is a partial kind of picture. Some people in the head area there see a face. I don't, but more than one person has said, yeah, I see some eyes and all that, and the head is kind of turned. And on top of it, looks like some kind of headgear. You see the brown thing up there, Dave?
Yeah.
2 pieces. They're like antlers, but they're not antlers. But maybe it's a communication device. I don't know. But what this is a full-on picture in color. Lots of blues, some green, a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, some brown, of a humanoid figure that was viewable only in the viewfinder of the camera, but not in physical space where our eyes could see it. So that was really cool and anomalous. And I asked my friend Pam later on, was that Hirate that you said, your father? And she goes, yep. And I go, silly me, slapping forehead. I expected to see a light in the sky zipping about like we had done before. Instead, we get this right on the ground, right behind my wife and myself, not someone else. It was specifically zeroing in on my wife and myself, as if it was meant to be like, hey, I'm for you guys. I'm here. And just take a look. So we got an affirmation that this, in fact, was this captain of the starship. And was this a projection? Was it an actual physical presence? I can't tell you, but it existed only inside the camera. Like I said, it wasn't physical space. This image was in the viewfinder, was recorded, and it was copied and transferred as a picture, and that's what you're looking at right now.
It's an incredible photo, that I can see where this photo would drive skeptics crazy. But when you've had an experience and you know what it's like to have that type of contact, it's very easy to allow your mind to see what you think you're looking at.
Yeah, I stand by what I experienced there. And the thing is that everybody that lined up behind us to take a look at the viewfinder saw the same thing. So it wasn't my imagination. It wasn't my wife's. That picture you see here was present for all the other human beings that cared to take a look at it. So it is an experience that is confounding, because you're there, and it's hard to convince someone who wasn't there that it was real for you. But isn't that true of a lot of life? The one who's the experiencer cannot sometimes put into words or the emotions of an experience to someone who might be a skeptic. And skepticism is okay, but when you have an experience like this, like I say, I stand by it.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Kosta Makreas is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Costa, with the contact that you have had and have been able to create over the years, are you 100% convinced now that on this planet we are not alone, that we do have other sentient type beings living among us?
Absolutely, 100% convinced. And I love it. Because it's optimism. My contacts and that of most of my community have been positive, and other people have had visitations on the ground. I know people who say they've been up in starships. I mean, the experiences just go on and on. The continuum of them. So either I'm to believe that all these people I know, including myself, close friends and family who've had these encounters, that either I'm to believe we're all crazy, or we're all making this up, or we all have been paid off to make this up. It's easier to believe that there is something there than to try to make up all these other excuses for what it can't, for what it isn't. You know what I mean?
Oh, I agree with you. Where do you think these ETs are living? Are they living among us? Are they in the forest? Are they living under the oceans?
I do believe some are under the oceans. There's a lot of evidence and video of spacecraft coming out of water. Like I have a friend who's seen them off of Santa Barbara, off the California coast. There's an island out there. I think I want to call it Catalina. I'm not sure, but she has seen fleets of UFOs coming out of the water. Other people have seen them going into the water. So underwater, yeah, I totally believe it. I mean, any civilization that has the technology to cross these vast distances, and I'm not smart enough to know what that technology is. It's more incredible than the physics that we know. But any civilization that has that ability certainly could create its own environment underwater and have bases, or inside of mountains, for example, or in forests. They could be everywhere. I haven't mapped them. That's not really what I've researched. But I do go from the anecdotal stories that I hear from people in the community of the encounters they have had in different places around the planet. So I believe they're everywhere, and I encourage people to make your own contact. And if I may put a plug in, if people come to ETLetsTalk.com, the membership is free. And there's a 7-step protocol there that is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward for making contact. And you can do it either alone in your living room or in a group in a living room or out in nature somewhere, wherever it's safe and convenient for you to do so. You can make that contact. And what's really cool is the star people, and they like to be called that. They told me way back in the beginning, aliens is not their preference. They want to be called family or star friends. So I try to use star friends or star people, either one. They have a lot of creative ways to contact us. It's not just the lights in the sky, but there's so many experiences where, for example, you'll get a telepathic message. Maybe afterwards you'll have a very lucid dream and they show up in the dream and talk. Some people have astral experiences. They leave their body and they meet their star people friends. I've had smartphones that were turned off, powered off, just turned themselves on without anyone touching them. And they're playing some song that's in a playlist that I had forgotten I had, but it's some cosmic song having to do with the stars. Just starts blaring and playing out of the blue. Or lights go on and off electronically. You cannot limit the creative ways they have of reaching us, because some ways are what people can accept. There's a lot of people who wouldn't be able to accept a full-on being materializing in their living room, for example. But if they're playing with the lights, or they're manipulating things on your computer, or you feel a tap on your shoulder and there's nobody there and you know something's tapping your shoulder or pinching your nose a little bit, that's a safer, more acceptable way for many people to accept the fact that there is some intelligence they're communicating, but it's not so overwhelming that it freaks them out. I hope that makes sense.
What's one of the biggest messages you have received from non-human intelligence regarding life in general? There's so many questions that we want to have answered. Is it a matter of time before we get those answers? And I'm saying, like, the meaning of life, for instance. Have you learned anything about that?
I have. There's one group called the Star Teachers who communicate with a friend of mine. Shout out to Debs Shakti.
Love her.
And they are, for one example, they are our descendants. They are us from the future who have come back because they've reached the stars. And for example, their message is that it's about love and connection. And what they emphasize is that the fact that they are here communicating with us, coming back from the future to tell us that we are their ancestors. They say, we are proof that you all made it, that you all survived so that we can even exist. We exist because you did survive. You made the breakthrough, not a breakdown. So that particular group talks about the higher dimensions where they live, where there is love and where there's cooperation, where there's truth, and where people aren't fighting and hating on each other and things like that we're all used to as human beings happening on our earth. So that's an inspiration that I take. And nobody has to believe that. Have your own experience. But when you encounter beings like that, they lift you up and they say, hey, hang in there. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're here to tell you, you made it. You made it through. You made the breakthrough. You created that golden age that's possible. And love really does hold everything together in the universe. So hang in there, baby.
Well, that's a great message. Great message right there. The idea that you have gone through this, have you ever looked back and wondered why is this your mantra, your ball to carry?
That's a really great question. I know it's because I asked, and a lot of us want to find meaning in our lives, right? One of the worst things is to feel you have no purpose, that you're just drifting along. You're depressed, you don't know how to break through it, and you're asking yourself, why am I here? What am I here for? What's it all about? Those are cosmic questions many of us have. In 2005, I looked up at the stars in Mount Shasta, and seriously, with tears in my eyes, I just said to the universe, why am I here? I'm here, I believe, to do something good. I don't know what it is, but I offer myself up to be used in a positive way in some role to do my part before I leave this body to make life on earth better, right? I don't know what that role is. So I asked, and it was about a year later that I discovered this group of people making contact. And as I mentioned before, that changed my life. So I got my answer because I asked. And again, I want to say is I'm nobody special. I took on this role. I asked the question, and they showed up and they said, form us some contact teams. Do it as quickly as possible everywhere. You asked us, here's our answer. Just do it. And so I did it. You know, it was that simple. The universe asking, you shall receive. And with a lot of joy, I took it upon myself. But my message is that every one of us at this time has a role to play. This planet is in such a critical need of love and healing that no matter who you are, no matter what you think you can offer or how little it is, it's needed. And if you just ask the question, in my opinion, to be used, to do something good, to find a purpose, I really believe that you'll get an answer. You'll get the guidance that you need. You're never alone. And you can do the types of things I do, or maybe something else that is your calling, not what was my calling, but it'll be something that's contributing to the golden age of Earth, which the star teachers have said is possible for us, but we got to create it. We got to ask. They're not gods to us. They're not going to come down and fix everything for us. They'll help us. They'll assist us. They'll guide us. They'll mentor us. But we got to do the heavy lifting as humans, because otherwise, if we don't surmount our problems ourselves, then we haven't grown, right? If someone else does the job for you, what have you learned? You haven't grown. So we'll do the job. We'll have some help, and we'll feel really good about ourselves, and everybody has a role to play. So ask the question, to be used in a good way, to do good.
Is that the reason why we haven't been able to get interstellar travel at this point? Because we are not advanced enough, or we're too quirky, we're too violent? Is that why they haven't allowed us to head deep into space yet?
I don't know the specific answer to that, but boy, that would be where I would put my money. You know, this species is not ready to play in the bigger sandbox, until, think about it, Dave. We're ready. There are people tonight, who are ready to kill somebody, another human being, for a difference in the color of their skin or their eyes or the language they speak. How are we to be good cosmic citizens if we can't even get along between ourselves, if we're willing to harm ourselves that way? So we've got to do the growing, and maybe there is a quarantine on us. My mind isn't made up on that, but I have heard people say there is. And yet I've heard other people say that in the secret space programs we've already mastered interstellar travel. But it's just being kept under wraps for most of us. Not sure what to believe about that, really. All I do is I just concentrate on doing my best with my community, teaching people, and trusting that people who stay positive and loving, we're winning the day. And it's a process, but we have to believe in ourselves and believe in our future, that it's possible, that we can rise above the pettiness of separation and learn to love one another. I don't know if that answered your question.
I think it does perfectly. As we got about 20 seconds to go here, and I want to say a big thank you, Costa, for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. What an absolute pleasure to get to know you and meet you and hear your very knowledgeable words about ET contact. We definitely got to do this again.
Absolutely. I'm happy to return anytime you want me, Dave. It's a pleasure to having met you.
ETLetsTalk.com is Kosta Makreas' website, so make sure you check it on out. ETLetsTalk.com. Coming up next, we're going to head to the swamp. Then Thomas Moose is going to join us for the Cryptid Report tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We're through 2 hours. Hour 3 is next on Spaced Out Radio. Many blessings, my friend. Thank you so much.
Same to you. Thank you, Dave. Good luck to you in the show, and say hello to Kira and the gang there for me.
Oh, she's listening. She's in the chat room.
Oh, okay.
So wonderful.
That's good. Thank you again.
You take care.
Yeah, you too. Till next
Bye-bye.
time. We figure out how to end this, but
I'll take you out.
Oh, you
I'll
do.
take you. There we go. And then we'll go like that. Excuse me. All right. That was fun. Great guy. What a great guy. Very full of peace, man. It's the way I want to be one day. I doubt I will, but I'll give it a damn good try. I'll be right back. You guys watch my chair and see if it moves. All right. I am back. I am back. How we all doing? It's a good time. So let's reminisce on our great show with Costa. That was incredible. What a good dude. What a very good dude. Travis Willier Moustus is here. He's got a nice shirt and tie combination going on. I love this guy. Freaking love him. All right. Hi, JKGN. How you doing, buddy? Big thank you to Nancy, Kira, Carl, the human Carl, that is, Deb, Sally, and Cat Chaser for the great super chats. Hi, Nikki from Seattle. How you doing, buddy? Susie B, she's all excited. Woo! Travis is here. Woo! Yes, Kira. I wish I would have went for dinner with you guys. Brendan Blount, how you doing, buddy? Hey, if you're coming to Vegas or thinking about it, from May 19th to 21st, 2023, for our fan party in the Golden Nugget, we want to see you there. Make sure you get your information in ASAP. Jenny Girl, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Earlier, I saw the scowling Greg O'Brien around here. He was scowling good. Here we go. Right now. Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Kicking off the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, at KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Balbriggan. Balbriggan is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is time once again for us to head to the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller is going to take us on another awesome journey.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp.
Hi, Swamp Dweller. I've been listening to you for almost 2 years now, and contemplating sharing some of my stories about my experiences. However, my sister told me I needed to share some of them, so I will share one of them now. If you'd like more from me, just let me know. For setup, I'm from Maine, and this takes place in the year of 2008, sometime during December, in Jay, Maine. My sister was 6 and I was 8. We were looking for our cat. His name was Panda because he looked like a panda, but we couldn't find him anywhere in the house, so we thought he got outside again. We were kind of upset by this because he's really not an outside cat. He likes to think he is, but you know how animals are. It was snowing outside pretty badly, so we went to see if we could find him. We step outside to try and find any clues as to where he may have went. We do see what looks like footprints going into the woods, so we follow them. Now, these woods are set behind our house. They're not too far and they're not too thick, but they are pretty vast. We knew these woods fairly well because we had played in them several times. I had practically spent every day of the summer there. We had started walking and trying to look for them for about 20 minutes now. Or at least it felt like 20 minutes. As the weather picked up, the snow turned more into like a slight blizzard and we couldn't really see where we were going. So time perception was probably the last of my worries. My sister started to get scared and started crying. I told her we would be okay, make it back, and it'll all be fine. We eventually tried to turn around back toward the direction we thought the house was, but after some time we still hadn't gotten to the place, and I knew we were hopelessly lost, but I tried not to show it. I thought of a way to escape this storm and return to our home. Then, suddenly, the blizzard around us stopped blowing where we were standing, and about 10 feet around us, all I could see was calm snow. What I saw next, honestly, I've never heard or seen anything about it anywhere online in all my research. It's something straight out of this world. A wolf walks out of a blizzard around us. It was about 3 feet taller than I was, and I was 5 feet at the time. It was pure white. Its eyes were a beautiful full blue. I then heard a gentle, feminine voice say, "One of my blood, why are you out here?" I said we were looking for our cat, and as a kid, I didn't know any better or what to do about a telepathic wolf. Then she said, "Come with me, little ones. Come on my back, I'll take you home. You are not safe out here." She crouched down, we climbed on her back, and we started running in the opposite way we were going. Also, the blizzard seemed to not be blowing at us as it stopped, but I could still see it raging around us. After some time, we see our house. She started to slow down and we came to the edge of the woods. She stopped, crouched, and then said, "Go home, little ones. You must go." My sister and I ran to the door. Once we touched the door, the storm returned, hitting us in full force. I looked back and the wolf was gone. We went inside and my mom ran up to us and asked us where we had been. She said we had been gone for multiple hours at this point, somewhere between 4 and 5. She was not alone though. There were 3 cops in the house talking to her at the time. We told them exactly what happened and why we were outside. She didn't believe us. She wrapped us in warm blankets and sat us next to our fireplace. If anybody knows what that wolf was, I'd love to know because I can't find anything on it at all. I think it might have been my spirit animal though.
And that's why we love the Swamp Dweller around here, for the great stories that he brings us each and every night here on Spaced Out Radio. And yeah, if you want more of that, we bring him here every Monday through Friday night to kick off hour number 3. And if you want more than that, all you got to do is go to his YouTube channel, youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads, to get thousands of great stories just like that one. From the stars, or make that from the swamp to the stars and to the forests around us. It's time for the Cryptid Report. Super Duke, the Cryptid Report with Super Duke. Filling in for Super Duke tonight, we got Travis Boostus, one of our famous guests here on Spaced Out Radio. He is a man, a myth, and a legend, all rolled into one. Well, his main job, believe it or not, hunting down monsters. Travis, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, really. Glad to be back. I was surprised you asked me to be back, and honestly, I'm always happy to be back. So great, doing great, man. How have you been? How was the trip?
The trip was great. And you know what? I actually dropped your name down there for someone who Lorian Fenton needs to bring down to San Francisco next year to speak about your extraterrestrial contact and what you do. So
Ooh.
I'm providing her a list of brand new speakers for next year. And I definitely want to see you down there, man.
Oh, I want to be down there. I can see myself out there already.
Good. Let's project it. Let's project it for 2024, man, and see you down in San Francisco. Man, you know what? You are one of the most requested people we have on this show. I don't know if you know that or not.
No, I have no idea, but that's lovely to hear.
Well, it's because people love the monsters, and people love the fact that you are realistically a monster hunter. That is what you do for a living. And for people who may not understand what that actually means, maybe explain that a little bit, how this is your job.
Yeah. No, it's literally a part of who I am. Growing up, and the things I was taught and the things I know have helped me in my life and have led me on this journey. And throughout my time, people have asked me to, clear spiritual beings out of their places and, help them out. And I've done just that. So I've been, on that path, and that's been my journey in this circle of life. So it's been good.
I love it. So considering we're now starting to enter spring, and where you are and where I am, the snow is finally starting to melt, where we're going to be able to get out into the forests and into the wilderness to try and track down some of these monsters. What have you been dealing with since the beginning of the year? What kind of deities have you been tracking down?
Oh, all sorts of kind of things in the woods. Everything from they almost look like giant wolves to some would say dog men. But these beasts are wild out there. Yellow eyes and they're huge silhouettes in the woods and freaky stuff. Super fast. Other than that, I've been seeing other extraterrestrials. Little fish, kind of I should say, bioluminescent fish beings that actually had they had a power to shoot bioluminescence out of their being. And not only that, but other dimensionals and stuff that I've been just getting rid of, and keeping out of the areas, and just catching glimpses of, and then they're they make their way out of the area. And I hear stories about people seeing some of these things now, and people are telling me yeah, we've been hearing stuff in the woods back in our area there, and it's been setting off the coyotes. And I've been hearing this thing out there too, setting off and freaking out herds of coyotes early in the morning hours. This, all of a sudden they're just hooting and freaking out, and yeah, so there's stuff out there. It's definitely been more active. And for extraterrestrials too, I don't know if you watched the 2-minute video that I had one tonight that literally stopped just dead center in the sky. It was pretty obvious, and I tried to zoom in on it with my awesome camera, and I know my camera could get that close, and it was just blurring it out, just totally. I was yeah, it's messing with my focus right now. So, but you know what I mean? I'll unzoom, because it allows me to see the unzoomed, I should say, the ball of light in the sky. And then, like I said, I unzoomed and it started moving again. I'm oh, there it goes again. Now it's going, but it did stop, and it presumed on, and then it kind of hung around and, slowly left to about a good 2-minute video. But yeah, no, they're around. And yeah, they're always around though. That's the thing though, for what I've been slowly discovering is they're always around us. And it's just us, when we heighten our realities and we start to really feel it within our centers, we start to see it, we start to connect with that, and they know that, they know the ones that are connecting, and that's why we have these experiences. And it's just you literally have these I should say this almost like a breakdown of not breakdown, but you just your whole reality is heightened. So then it's you're also seeing these other dimensionals as well, not only extraterrestrials. You could also see these other spirits and other beings that are always around us, and it's part of our nature, even the Earth's nature too. And the Earth has a lot of spirit beings as well, and that's where a lot of these cryptids and dimensionals also resonate with and come from the Earth itself.
The big hairy creatures are the ones that we like to talk about here on the Cryptid Report. And for you, I mean, you have dealt with Dogman, you've dealt with Sasquatch, you've dealt with many other type of cryptid creatures. What's the scariest part about going into one of these areas where these creatures are?
Well, it's at first it's the unknown, what I mean? What am I, what is, the big thing lurking out there, right? That part is the freaky part. But, but as for the idea, most of the time, being out there in the woods, it's very connecting, and it's very, it's almost very homely for me in a sense. So like being out there in nature, I don't think too much like on the fear part. So it's like kind of like I'm just out there and you know, but if you do hear the big thing out there moving around, you know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, is this the big creature, or is this the, you know, the good old friendly moose there that's coming to say hello again? You know what I mean? Or the, you know, or you know, one time it was kind of funny because it did sound like a, you know, like a decent coyote or a wolf or something walking, and all of a sudden just a rabbit came out and I kind of laughed, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but these things are, you know, like it's just like, you know, everything else, right? You just a little caution goes up, but that's just neat. That's just like natural. It's to everyone's survival, right? And but other than that, though, hearing the big snaps in the trees and like hearing something else like the screaming in the woods. One time I had my cousin's a sergeant for the police, and he came out and he was like, I was like, check this out. What is this? You know what I mean? And he was out and he heard the thing screaming too. And he's like, I don't know what that is out there, man. Like it would sound like because I freaked out. I thought it was a person screaming. Like that's how it sounded, like a female screaming out in the woods. But he's like, I don't know what that is, man. He's kind of freaked out himself there too. And I was like, yeah, well, see if it goes away. And I mean, sure enough, it did go away. Like it stopped, and like we're kind of like, you know, but it sounded like more like a creature, female creature thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was, and we've heard cougars, we've heard other things, you know, calling out in the woods before and whatnot. So it's not like, this was pretty odd, this one, but he figured it might have been a spirit witch of the woods or something like that, or some sort of like an old native witch spirit or something like that. He started getting into like the supernatural side of it too, right? But yeah, it was kind of like a very interesting experience that we both shared in that sense. But
have you ever had a situation where you've been tracking Sasquatch and you're watching it, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, it disappears right in front of you? There's no trees, you know, or there's no real hiding spots for it to hide behind.
Oh yeah. No, there's tons of that out there. Like including like I said, there's the tree peekers as well. Like those things like to watch, and you'll feel them watching you when you're out there in the woods, and you know they're lurking out there, but you can't quite sense where they are, and because they almost look like trees themselves, and you know they blend right in with the whole. If you just look at this, like the bush line, they'll just blend right in. You wouldn't even see them. But yeah, I know, like these things, like in and out, popping in and out of realities like that. Yeah. Even like sometimes the spirits, they'll just even form themselves like into like they'll look actually physical, like when you're out there, because the energies are so heightened. My uncle, he said he was out there and he thought he seen a Black Panther running at him and jumping, but then it's gone. And I was like, so what do you do then? He's like, I don't know, I thought I was losing my mind, I left the woods there. He said, but it was like he kind of laughed at that, but he's like, yeah, no, sometimes those spirits like that, they'll come and show signs, or that's like messages. And my father, what freaked him out one time is he shot a moose, and the thing literally yelled like a human, and he was like, whoa, what the hell? He dropped his gun, he freaked out, he didn't want to ever hunt again and stuff. This is like when he was younger, he told me the story, right? But like stuff like that has been known to happen, where like animals, like, you know, all of a sudden just, you know, like freaky signs like that, or messages that just kind of happen. These spirits, right? They kind of like the trickster spirits, right? They're there to teach a lesson or a message or something, right? So these things are wild. Yeah, even to moose taking like loads of clips and walking away, no blood spilled, like, you know, and things like that, and they're just like, you know, walk away, you know, into the woods, and then you go to, you know, you hear them walking in the woods, but there's no blood spilled from like taking 15 rounds, or, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's just insane. Like, it's just stuff like that. Like, there's been things like that have happened out there.
What's that like? I mean, all of a sudden, let's say, I mean, some of your Cree elders are out hunting, and all of a sudden a dogman or a Bigfoot comes and tries to steal the kill, so to speak.
Usually that's like that would mean like it was meant to be, like they would let the Bigfoot take it. Dogman or like those things, usually it's like that would be an indication of like something like very, very bad or very negative. So it had to be dealt with in like a very spiritual aspect, very spiritual sense. So like a lot of different kind of things would be needed in that area. Maybe a blessing in the area, or possibly you know, like I said, maybe blessed weapons or things like that, or even like protections that would be set up in those areas to keep such a being or creature out from coming into the lands or the areas. Those things have been set up and done before, but yeah, no, like it would all be like things that are taken in signs. Like for example, that one that was shot, the moose that didn't go down and walked away, was actually a sign that a great hunter was going to pass away in the family. And my uncle, one of my uncles, passed away that like a week later after that happened. So like, you know, I mean, these little things like are sometimes, like I said, they're messages. And in our traditional way, because we're very like hunters and gatherers, and we're very nomadic people, so we always move with the lands and always live with the lands, and always all these beings and creatures are all part of this this life, you know what I mean? And people all sorts of walks, including like other like I said, like other people from our tribes have different callings to different beings, different spirits will come visit them in ceremonies. Like you know, there'll be like a sweat. One time there was a sweat I was in, there was like 30 of us. And one of the spirit Bigfoots came there to visit one of the people, just one of the many 30 like of us. And that guy was had a connection to the Bigfoots, and he actually was named, that was one of his he got the spirit name for the Bigfoot, you know what I mean? Like, and so like sometimes these beings, they'll come and visit our people in ceremonies, and actually like bestow upon them a name, or they'll message them, or can make that connection, you know, from the spirit world to this physical or this dimension, or whatever you want to call it. The hologram. Sure.
We got just under 3 minutes to go here before we got to go to break. At the bottom of the hour on the Cryptid Report, Travis Moostus is our guest tonight, filling in for Super Duke. Are these creatures meant to be feared, or do we put fear into ourselves regarding them?
It depends, really. Sometimes they're not meant to be in those in those areas at those times, or sometimes like for, especially if it's negative spirits, there's a reason to it, right? So it's always like something to look more closely into, in a sense, and just kind of try to take in the bigger picture, right, before it's like a big fear thing, or you know what I mean, but yeah, it's like, you know, there are some that are very very evil, and then there are some that are very nice and very kind, and but like I said, not Bigfoots for us were never regarded as anything evil or anything like that, but there are some pretty bad spirits out there that are, you know, pretty nasty in that sense, and but yeah, like most of the time though, like I said, it's really how we carry ourselves with our energies, and how we proceed with our life in that connection with our beings. It's our, I should say, with our guides that are, of the light, and the universe, I should say, and and living in that balance with that, right? And usually, like I said, and then these other beings that are around, dimensionals, like I said, sometimes they are, like I said, they come to us, and they're there for messages and teachings. So like there was a lot of different kinds of beings that would come from the inner earth, or travel from the inner earth to come teach our people and whatnot. And like I said, it was a lot of our times are, it was like a cautionary thing, but then at the same time, we would also have a lot of great interactions with some of these beings, like for example, some of the Koakan Samana, which is the dragon people, you know what I mean? And those guys, they're like the lizard people, and they would, we'd always talk with them and exchange with them and stuff like that over a long period of time. And like I said, they had civilizations underground that nobody ever got to visit or meet, but they would always come up, and we'd see them around the rivers and stuff and swimming. So we called them, the real translation for it would be like water dog people. But yeah.
That's why we love Travis Moostus on here, filling in for Super Duke on the Cryptid Report. We'll talk more monsters that he's tracking down in the next half hour. Monsters. So much fun. So much fun. I love it. Love learning about the monsters that walk among us and in the forests that surround us. Spaced Out Radio continues. Final half hour next. Hey, buddy, how's the snow up there? Is it melting now?
It's warmer, but it's weird because it's like -4, but it's still cold. Like real, like it feels like it's minus 13 or 15 out there. But yeah, it is like there hasn't been any new snowfall for a while. But reality though, I'm like I'm excited like to get back in the woods. I got all these cameras, trail cameras ready. I got all brand new camera ready to go here. Fancy night shots and all sorts of things. Yeah, I'm ready to get back out there. I have a nice little area I was going to check out and just go see and test some things out. And
yeah, I'm still about a good month or so away from getting into my area.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can't wait. I can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, like the areas I'm just like I've always been out there. I know these areas and stuff, but it's just like I never brought any cameras just to leave out there and and try to capture some of this phenomenon and whatnot. But it is out there, and I like I said, it's I'm excited to go and capture some of that stuff. So
me too.
Yeah,
me too. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to just be out there again and see what kind of communication, what kind of interaction we can have. Hi, Sagittarius. By the way, Maggie M10, I forgot to put it up, but thank you so much for your super chat. Very much appreciate your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. I apologize about that. That is my fault. My fault.
Yeah, that one, the one trail camera that I got, I had a video from over like this last December, or no, sorry, early January, end of December, and there was a coyote, and it was eating, and all of a sudden it looked up to see the orb fly off from the ground into the sky, and then it went back to eating. Like it literally looked up at it, acknowledged that orb flying by, and then went back to eating. So like there's a couple of cool like just nature videos out there, like not just like looking at beasts and like for the monsters and whatnot, or the little ones, or you know what I mean. Like it's literally like a lot of like nature's spirits and their connections, right? It's like they're just a world that's that they're just living in.
Oh, I hear you, dude. I hear you, and it's nice to be a part of that world. It very much is. I mean, it just when you can take some time and really, how can we put it? Take some time and really adapt yourself to nature out there. It's amazing what you see and hear.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's literally a learning experience, like in every sense, because like a lot of what's in nature is actually reflected out there in the universe. So when you're out there in nature, you're actually experiencing the universe in itself. So connecting with that.
Hi, the Michael Leger. How you doing, buddy? And all right. I think we is all caught up right now.
There was supposed to be that alignment. I didn't get to go check it out just yet, though. Did you happen to check any of that out? Planet alignment?
No, I didn't check any of that out. I didn't. I'm bad for stuff like that. I really am.
I still got to check it out, so yeah. I wouldn't feel too bad.
Nice. I appreciate that. We got about 45 seconds here, bud.
Cool. Excellent.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. All good. They blocked the planet alignment tonight with clouds. All good. What's it say on the Sasquatch chat? That's Cryptid 559 in the chat room. That's his logo up there. Big thank you to Maggie, Nancy, Kira, Human Carl, Deb, Sally, and Cat Chaser for the amazing super chats. Thank you so much for the love and support. And don't forget, you can do your shopping at spacedoutradio.com. We want to make sure that everybody's taken care of there. And here we go, everyone. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Filling in for Super Duke tonight on the Cryptid Report, we have Travis Williams, who's a monster hunter from northern Alberta, the province next door to me. And we love talking monsters. Travis, welcome back, my friend.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure to be back. I'm happy to come back and speak anytime, man.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Like right before the break, we were talking about, seeing creatures disappear and reappear in front of you. I mean, what are some of the strangest? Give me your top 3 strangest creatures that you have had to deal with as a monster hunter.
Well, there were the man buffalo eater people, which are nasty. Fast. They run zigzagged through the trees, and they huge silhouettes. Very, very evil spirits. They have no intention of actually making any good experience, or they're ready to take everyone's life if they have the chance. Sometimes they'll get into people and just totally turn them insane, and not only that, but a lot of some people just went lifeless, in the woods and stuff from these beings. And sometimes they'll get into homes and they'll destroy a whole house. They'll run around the whole walls and ceilings. You hear, footsteps running around everywhere, knocking things over, opening cupboards. And, people have had, things like just like total everything, like right to the door, like smash out, like from when it left the house, it broke out the, window, screen window, you know what I mean? And I've seen that before. And, there's that. And then there's some that are, like I said, some are tricky, some are funny, they'll take things, and then, things will go missing for some people, and then they'll end up, going to give little offerings back or to them in exchange for their stuff back. And, and then their things come back to them, and they'll actually get their stuff back. There are some that are actually, good signs though, like not all bad. There are some good signs, like, you find some antlers or something like that, like from mooses that they've, shedded, and you pick up, you find them up. That's usually good luck. And, people make tools out of those, or little shields out of them and things like that, little spiritual items and things. And because the moose is very iconic spiritual animal for our people in many ways, and there are a lot of teachings to that animal in that sense. But like I said, but yeah, there, like I said, some of them have been funny though, and they'll disappear from animals disappearing, and to like you said, Bigfoots, Sasquatches, like I said, they are very dimensional, and they'll snap some trees, distinctly 4 trees, and then they'll leave, and then they'll be gone. And you know what I mean? You're trying to figure out where, you know, where they went, and you know what I mean? They're just totally, you know, out of the area, or, you know, and or even other beings. But yeah. So
do you find a lot of these beings stick together, or are they all kind of individualized?
Really, it all depends. Like, usually Bigfoots like to hang around with a lot of like other forested animals, and like, you know, they'll hang around in like kind of like animal highways and things, you know what I mean? Like they've been known to be around like those, like kind of like a food source, right, to them. And other being creature, others like little people and stuff like that, like tend to be around rivers, you know, things like that. And other beings of like, you know, in the mountains and stuff, you know, and others in the prairies and the caves and other systems right underneath the ground. And some areas are just more spiritually active in certain times of year, and sometimes those areas are just like I said, just like almost like portals, are like it just attracts them from the electromagnetic activity of that time of year, and the sun's all, you know, in the sky, highest in the sky, and they come out, and you get to actually, sometimes you'll see them. Sometimes they're you know, bug-like creatures and real giant centipede-like, you know, distinct monsters that are just unnameable. But you know, like you'll see some of these things are just like, you know, almost like big giant nature spirits, but just, you know, you can't, you know, just like weird creatures in the waters, you know. Sometimes there's like I said, the dragons that swim in the waters, like almost like snakes. And yeah, man, it gets wild. So like, but like I said, it's like their world out there, right? It's a world that we're just not connected to anymore. That, well, like I say, like majority of the folks out there, you know. And,
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things that has interested me a lot about these so-called creatures that are out there, and a lot of people have been reporting about this, regarding these voices, these empty voices of people you may know or recognize their sound. And you look around the forest, you know you're all alone. You know there's nobody there. What is that, and what's causing that?
There's a lot of there is a lot of you know, speculation, but there's even like places where people have like passed away years ago, and then their entity still has like a connection there, or you know, like there's been tales of that, like rivers that are holding like people that have, you know, passed away, and then like their spirits are there at night. Like for example, there was a mass grave that was like from the Spanish flu era, and it was near my area, and there was like a bunch of unmarked graves, like probably like 80 people piled into this one grave and buried there, you know, to stop the plague, right? And but like I said, that area still has like people still hear them like in the early morning hours, like still laughing, and like, you know, children running around and playing and stuff like that. So, you know, sometimes it is just like the area, like even, you know, you go back and you hear like people talk about like old battlegrounds and native battlegrounds and stuff. People still hear the warriors calling out at night and stuff. And, you know, or you know, like for example, a lot of us natives are not allowed to visit Wounded Knee. Like we're not allowed to actually go to the site of Wounded Knee, because we might actually take back some of those spirits that are still praying out there. Because like, even though like this, there's a reason why it was called a ghost dance, right? They're not done. There's still ceremony still going in the spirit world out there. You know what I mean? It's not done. Even though they were killed, they're still in the spirit world dancing and doing that ceremony. So like there's still these things that are happening in those worlds that are, you know, that we also have no connection to, but still, I mean, well, have connection to, but just can't see it in this physical realm. It's like in a whole another heightened sense of reality. But yeah, we all connect to at the end of the day, right? And so,
right.
Yeah.
Susie wants to know: have you ever had experience with the Pan being?
Pan being?
Yeah, Pan, the Tulpa of Pan, or the legend of Pan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would have to. Maybe if it was like told to me in a different, because we might know it differently though. Like that's the thing, is like it might be something else, but it might be you You know what I mean? Like we know it as something else.
He's a fertility deity. Many say he's very evil. Comes in bestial form. In Greek mythology, he was associated by the Romans with Faunus, originally an Arcadian deity. Not very happy, and is a major trickster type spirit.
No, I can't say that I've experienced anything with that deity. No. And but like that's a very interesting one there. I've never. Yeah, interesting.
Maggie in Australia is asking, what's the purpose the spirits have to attach to the people who visit the site? You were just talking about a battleground.
Yeah. So like Wounded Knee, for example, it's like the ceremony's still going on that they were doing in that moment, and they almost don't want to have our energy go with them, because sometimes it could be like sometimes our spirit might just leave too and do that and go there, or the spirits might come follow us back, and it might be like a bad thing kind of deal, for in the sense of like just that like it's like almost like any kind of like spiritual attachment, you know what I mean? It might not be a very good one there in that sense, because there was a lot of like it was very dark times in that moment, right? And there's a lot of like very confused spirits and souls in those moments. But like I said, that dance is still going on. That's what I was told. And you're not allowed to go there, because that's like interrupting that ceremony, that spirit ceremony. Like, we weren't invited. We weren't there doing that. We weren't there to be there to do the honoring ceremonies, to be there to smoke the pipes, to do all those like to be initiated into that ceremony. So it's like kind of disrespectful to be to go there. You know what I mean? Like, normally when these things are going on, like our ceremonies, you have to be fully hearted into these things, like almost like prior, like 6 days, like not 6 days, but like 4 days, or even 8 days of clear-minded, just straight focus on what's coming ahead, right? Like these things are very dedicated. Like even before Sitting Bull led the people to battle, he had a 6-week fast and ceremonies and everything. Like, he had people from all different tribes there. There were all these different chiefs and ceremony like were going on, and he was doing sun dances. He did sun dance for, I think it was like 4 days straight. He had like over 50 cuts on each arm, and all these like piercings on each arm, and all these things. Like, it was to get this vision of the battle at Greasy Grass. Well, we know it as Greasy Grass, but the battle of Little Bighorn, the Custer battle, right? And he got that vision that they were going to win and whatnot. But there was a real crazy. There's a whole nother teaching to that vision, though, he had too. And but most people don't know that one. But I'll say that for another time.
No problem. Travis William Moostus is with us tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Travis, you've dealt with a lot of the things in the forest. Have you ever come across one of these really strange, how can we put it, these stairways that seem to just pop up in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah. These doorways or stairways that just kind of lead on. Yeah, they do happen to come up and dimensionally, right? And these are interdimensional realms, like opening up, and these are pathways. And so, like, if you're lucky enough to find some people do venture into them and they come back out. Some people have been gifted peace pipes, and they've disappeared for weeks, but they've only spent 4 hours in there. You know what I mean? And there's been a lot of like these like real like interesting tales from the beings inside of those places, and their connections with the earth, and like their crystal, like their abilities with crystals, and just it's very, very, very intriguing stuff. I'm not gonna lie there about any of that. So
okay, I gotta ask you, what would happen to a person if they actually went up to the top of those stairs?
Dimensionally, you could fall into another hidden reality that splices with ours, and that crossover, you might not come back. I know Inner Earth, when you go down there, you have the choice to stay or to come back out. They honestly ask you. They say, do you want to stay we want to go back, right? And you know what I mean? And like I said, what feels like only a couple hours or maybe even a couple days, you've been out there for years. So, yeah, you know, different realities. And sometimes these beings, like I said, they'll just pop in through them or out of them. And there's been tales of people that, like I said, in our nations and who have fought these beings and chased them back into portals, and a portal closed and they didn't come back out. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of that, like, you know, just dimensional stuff going on out there that we're just not fully, like, you know, you know, I don't think we're all ready for, but like, it's there, it exists all for, like, you know, all around us. And that's, you know, it's a very natural part of this reality in this universe.
So what kind of creatures are up there? Is it demons? Is it fairy folk?
You could say that some of these realms have dragons and have these you know, winged creatures that still fly around. And there's even some darker realms that I've seen with that have just had these like white flying, they almost look like almost like jellyfish, but then they have a face of a human with just dark out eyes. And you know, in the front of them, they're flying around and stuff. And you know, there's other realms out there that are just like endless. Some are like I said, I've seen, there's grasshopper beings. I don't know, I call them dimensional hoppers, because they use their they use their esotericism to open these portals, and they are able to jump dimensions, and they like to come to ours because of all the art and stuff. That's how I've noticed this one anyway. But anyway, he wanted they, like, I don't know, it was just like, it was just almost like a visual that I got from him. And this guy was he was very cool. He had like a red robe, and he was very artistic. And he wanted me show me his, like, the buildings and the style. Like they had like almost like hexagonal shaped like structures, like it was kind of funny. It was like looking at a human city, but it was like a bunch of grasshopper people. And like they had like I said, just structures that were like hexagonal shaped, that were like skyscrapers. They wore little construction hats, they had little suits and ties. And I'm not even joking, like it was kind of funny. Like it was like you know, it was like, but like they were more nature based, and they had they were like, there was no pollution or anything in their world. It was all like kind of like I said, all the stuff was all green, like kind of like green technology, like all worked with their Earth, their version of Earth, because they lived in the same thing. That's what he told me, same thing as our Earth, but it's just their reality. And I was like, oh, okay, like, and then the best way to look at it is like inside of a tree, there's many layers to that tree, right? And it's just like that. The dimensions exist in these layers that ripple outward, and it just goes on forever. There's so many.
Have you traveled to any of these different dimensions?
I've gotten a lot of visuals, but yes, I've on spiritual fasts. I've on my spiritual fast, I was able to like leave the hut and actually like travel around, and I've seen like different like worlds and cities and different like beings. Like that's where I was able to see this guy, like he was able to transform into a bear, and all these like I said, all these like real unique different like dimensions and art. And there's like I said, like a whole bunch of messages, but like I said, I'm not gonna, I won't go into all of it here, but yeah, no, there's you can, and people have, and people do. And like I said, like people call it the star quests or vision quests. And sometimes the beings will come down and pick people up and actually take them on journeys and across the stars. And you know, people will actually see the Earth, and they'll take them around the cities and real fast around the skies and above the clouds. And yeah, there's like you know, a lot of that going on. Like it's like it's a real thing that people do. I've heard of it, experienced it, and you know.
So how do you get back from a different dimension?
When I was younger, when I was a kid, I used to use a leaf, or I used to use a piece of grass, anything like organic, and it'd call me back to this earth. Now I could just come back, you know what I mean? Like if I have to, but yeah, that's how I had to connect with Earth out there.
Oh, wow. So when you're traveling into different dimensions, are you doing it through astral travel or are you going physically?
When I'm say I do a fast ceremony, then yeah, physically. Astrally, if I'm getting visuals, and sometimes remotely. But like I said, a lot of times, you go out there in the woods, and you'll just all of a sudden you'll be in a total. You'll be walking, all of a sudden you're like, hey, I just walked past this tree a while ago. You know what I mean? Like, or you know what I mean? And you didn't go in a circle. You know what I mean? And the area, and you're like, whoa, okay, well, I just stumbled into something here, or what did I just walk through? You know what I mean? And you're back. You know what I mean? And there's some of those that like things that happen, and that's like physical, and you just can't wrap your mind around that when that happens.
90 seconds here. Tell us your plans heading into spring and summer. What's on your agenda for monster hunting?
Oh, just divine timing, getting out there and just embracing it all. What the universe wants to show me in those moments, every little moment, every little sign. That's what one of the teachings I learned on when I was out there doing these my ceremony, my fast, was that every little thing was like a teaching or in a sign, in the sense of the connection of the universe that's you're surrounding yourself in, and really becoming part of, you know what I mean, and becoming one with, and so I just enveloping that and taking everything in. Like I said, a lot of the stuff out there in the forest and nature is ripple effects from the universe all around us, and so it's just like you're seeing a universe when you're out there in the woods, and you're connecting with these beings of the woods and dimensions, and yeah, so it's a positive thing in that sense.
Well, my man, it is always fun to have you back on Spaced Out Radio, and we're going to try and, like I promised you, we're going to try and get you on as much as we possibly can here in 2023, because you are such a fan favorite. And let's face it, you got great hair and a nice shirt and tie combination going on. I mean, you never go wrong with that, my man.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on, man. I'm thankful that you contacted me and brought me back on. I'm so happy to be here and share some of these stories and experiences with all of you. And thank you to the fans listening that keep calling me back. It's a pleasure, and thank you so much. Appreciate it. And blessings.
Stick around, because we're about to wrap this thing up. I want to say a big thank you to Swamp Dweller and to Kosta Makreas for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. It's been an absolute blast to have a great show like this tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night. All right. Shaq here in the chat room wants to know, do you have a YouTube channel or other means where they could learn more from you, my man?
You know what? I'm gonna start one up because I keep getting the requests for this. So, in time, expect it.
You do need one.
Yes, I've been getting this requests, and so yeah, I full capabilities. Like I know how to edit, and I know how to do all that stuff. So I'm I should have one.
Right. Right. Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I've been. Yeah. It's been a matter of time. So.
Right. Have you ever witnessed a UFO landing?
Yeah. No, they come and take things. They'll come and beam up. Like they'll just teleport a moose up into the. They'll come and take live like animals and stuff like that. They do munch on them. There was one video my one buddy he had showed me, and we literally watched it go over the tree line and take something and leave, and we're like what? And it was mind blowing because it was a huge black object, and in the storm too. It was traveling in the storm clouds, and yeah. And he had the video on Facebook, and then he got locked out of his Facebook, and then he didn't have the video anymore on his security thing, and I was like, and you kind of, but I did see it though, and then over the summer I watched like I said, an orb, and this spherical ball of light, just literally solid light, dropped down over into the lake, and then proceeded to go back up and leave and take off. So they're, like I said, they do make landings or dip in the waters, and come check out the area or the conditions of things, or think, I don't know, like I said, it's like looks like a lot of surveying and monitoring, and yeah, like I'm starting to see more of that activity pick up now this around this time of year. So that's kind of interesting fact to know there. Like over the winter it kind of slowed down a little bit, but now it's starting to pick up a lot more, so look up.
What should people be looking for?
Yeah. All right. So what I always notice is if the object will be a solid bright color, a bright light white, or sometimes it will flash. Sometimes there's flashing, and then I look for the indication of like some sort of like is it how many lights, different things, like if there's a little flashing red light, there's obviously an airliner or a plane, but like, or if it's there's a space station that goes by too, right? So you got to be careful of that one as well. But like the one I look for the sudden stops, if there's any stops, because space stations don't stop up there. Look for the no silence, look for the silence. The no sound is usually a big dead giveaway. The ascending, any left turn, right turn, like out of nowhere abruptly. I've watched some that have like proceeded to go east and then turn just straight south, and just head down south, and or even how many there are too, like and what kind of patterns they're in. Like I've seen like a jagged pattern, like one fly up and then another one following it, flying lower. They're kind of like in a little jagged pattern, flying one after another. And there was 3 of us, we counted 51 that night going over, and that we figured a portal was in the clouds, because like there was no way we were seeing them coming from down far west, where they were coming out of. So, but like it looked like they were coming out of the Snake Bear constellation towards the south from looking north. So yeah, it was like there's a lot of things to look for in that sense.
Very cool. Yeah, we were sitting in a friend's hot tub, and we were specifically there looking for UFOs, and it wasn't until we kind of said, hey, we're going to leave in about 10 minutes, when all of a sudden, coming from the southeast, our friend notices this triangle coming towards us. And as it started encroaching towards us, we actually watched it. The lead light on the triangle all of a sudden did a 90-degree turn and shot east. And the other 2 kept going until they got to the Big Dipper's handle, and they stopped just on the outside of the Big Dipper's handle. It was the most wicked thing, man.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So, and then they just hung around for a little while, I'm guessing, right? And that's just.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do you believe that all of those craft have beings on them, or do you think some of them are drones?
I believe some of them are animals. Some of them are beings that we just that we never encountered before yet, just because space and the universe is just so vast that we've never seen some of these jellyfish ships that are just actually beings, live beings in space. Actually, and some of the beings do utilize live ships. Like that's something also I've seen on like my astral travels, that some of these ships are alive that these beings use, and they actually, like, it's just like, feeding a live being. They use fuel from different systems, and they feed it. And they need water, and sometimes they land in water, and but like I said, the not all of them, some of them could be drones, like I said, the cubes. I feel like the power cubes, I like to call them, the great universe cubes, that it's so magnificent. They're so beyond any, like, to me, I love them. They're both, like, they can manifest in our physical dimension, and then they can even enter our dreams. And I've had that experience, and it was like so mind-blowing, because like all of a sudden I just felt myself going up into the clouds so high and into space so far that I actually freaked myself out, because like, whoa, how far am I going? And then there was just this speck of blue that just came from the distance, just like, when it made a real loud sound when it's coming closer. It freaked me out. And it was just a big square blue cube that just and started like energizing me, and I just felt like 100 times better. And when I woke up, I was like, whoa, like I literally stayed up for a whole day straight. Like I was like literally like a night and day, like I was literally up constantly. And yeah, I just felt like it was just incredible. And like I said, these power cubes, like, I feel are parts of the universe, but they're not like they're some sort of connection or something. Like I said, I don't feel like there's beings aboard them. I feel like they are like them, like they're like, they are them, like they are like they are the cube, like power cubes, like it's just magnificent.
You love your the stories that have been passed down generation to generation. And,
Oh,
one thing that I have not experienced enough of in my life, and I have a little bit, but nothing too significant, is actually getting to sit down with elders and listen to the stories. Uh, it, I remember some of the stories that I've heard. It's literally brought tears to my eyes, because they are just so powerful, and you can
oh yes.
feel energy coming off of the elder's voice, telling you, about the mountains or the birds or the sky or whatever. For your nation, the Cree Nation, how far back do the stories go about your connection with the Star People?
Oh, it's literally the creation story. Our people's creation story is the constellation beings made us, and made us with the spirit connections of each plant and animal on this earth, and including the earth, the fire, and the air, and it's all of it is connected, and the water. I'm sorry, and it's all connected. And like I said, it's right down to that, like right from the beginning, and that's what we always believe is, we were made by these constellation beings, and we were brought here and put here, like I said, with connections from the earth. And a lot of the beings, like, they wanted to help us out, like, so, like, for example, like the poplar tree, wanted to give a piece of itself to us, so they gave us our bones. So, like, when you trim a poplar tree, it's white on the inside, like our bones, looks like our bones. And like there's like all these like little teachings that are part of, like, we have connection from these animals, that they've given part of themselves through spirit, because the connection with these higher beings. And the earth too, giving itself to make the mold for us, the water for our blood, the air for our breath, and the light from the sun for our being, and our light and our soul, our being.
See, I find that interesting. And the reason why I do, Travis, is because here in British Columbia, okay, like the big band that's by me here, is the Canam First Nation, and their elders absolutely cannot stand the star people because they take members of the nation and either never return them or drop them in a predicament that's dangerous, like in the middle of the highway in wintertime. And, you know, the person will either get hit by a vehicle or they will freeze to death, right?
Yeah.
They have a fear of them. Yet your nation is very pro-extraterrestrial. I know First Nations down in the lower mainland of British Columbia that absolutely fear Sasquatch, but your nation looks at them as almost brothers and sisters.
Oh yeah, right down to star. We have star blankets and everything, you know, star lodges and, you know, these things for even, like I said, the star quests and, you know, all these different ceremonies that are part of that connection to them. So yeah, it's like our Cree people, the Neowin, Neowak, are very connected to the Kokosak, Samanak, or the Askikia, you know, with the sky people, sky spirits, you know. So it's like a very, you know, like I said, it's a very deep connection that goes straight down to our creation, our origin story. So, but like I could see why other nations out there are very, you know, they get a little hesitant on some of the other extraterrestrial alliances that may have came and interacted with them, taken away. Like I said, we have had like wars and like tales of wars with reptilians that have come and tried to take a lot of the tribes women and stuff like that. Similar story. So I can understand that there are, you know, certain factions out there that have maybe triggered some of the tribes' hatred towards them, and from various things that have happened, like battles or histories in the past, like, you know, abductions and things of the such. But like I said, for us, like the great beings of the universe and whatnot are always been our connection and our guides in this life and this walk of this earth, and that's, like, you know, like I said, our origin stories. So it's always been a big connection for us. And you know, the same thing with like it's kind of funny, like even like you know, you find that across some of the other tribes too. A lot of people, like, there's a lot of other tribes that believe that too, with their connections as well with the star nations and star people. Not just my tribe as well, but like I said, it's out there. It's really out there. So, but like I said, the Neo and Neowak, we pretty much consider ourselves star people as well.
Beauty. All right. Now, can you see the audience where you are?
No, sorry, no.
Okay, so if you go up in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see where it says like comments or private chat. Right-hand corner of StreamYard.
Okay. Yeah, comments. Okay.
Or you're on your phone tonight?
Yeah, I'm on my phone, sorry.
Okay. So I got to take a quick bathroom break. I'll let you chat with the audience here. We'll start off with I know there's a question here from Suze asking, have you ever peeked into your past lives?
Oh, yeah. Right, no. That's a great question. We all have these wonderful past lives, and you'd be surprised by like how connected we are really in this current life to all those past lives, like, in some of the things that we've carried on, even including traumas and stuff. We gotta there's a lot of things they call regressions, hypnotic regressions, and like people went back and they like through like sessions with people. But I've done it just through over like YouTube. Like, turn on like you know, when you go to sleep, one of those hypno regression, past live regressions. Like, I've done that and I've gotten good results. Like, I've seen one time I was some sort of like night guy in like a 14th century standing around a stone table, and like, you know, I've seen a bunch of different like very interesting you know, even extraterrestrial moments, you know, and like, you know, like some, you know, like we all have these different connections, all, even, you know, from, like I said, just even from not only human lives, like we also have them from across the universe too. But like, yeah, there's been a lot of a lot of that going on. Let me just see if I can find you guys on YouTube here real quick here. Spaced Out Radio. All right, there we go. Let me go check this out. All right, I'm just loading up. Let's see where we're at with the questions. right, yo. Oh no. There we go. All right. So what is Bigfoot's favorite snack besides humans? Oh, wow. Yeah. All right. So Bigfoot's yeah, they enjoy a lot of they eat a lot of berries. They naturally a lot of fruits, vegetables and things like that they'll take. They've they've munched on like tons of like I said, like deers and like I said, wild animals in that sense. Like like they hunt, they do their own hunting, like they do eat off the land and stuff. So it's pretty much their go-to. Little people like sweets though. Don't get them chocolate. They cause trouble with chocolate. But like you get them some sort of like like a cupcake or something like that. That's not chocolate, be fine for them. They like home baked goods. That's one thing that little people like. Candy, things like that. Let me check out what else is here too. Yeah, peanut butter. Yeah, peanut butter, bacon. Yeah, that's right. Bigfoot. Yeah, no, anything like humans, man. Like they love that stuff. I was just speaking like on terms like out there in the wild. Of course, they love all that the junk and stuff. Like they'll go crazy over that. Anyway, I'm just playing lacrosse. Yeah, actually, I did. All right. That's funny you say that. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I find another one here. Ancient history, Great World, Bigfoot Radio. Okay. Interview with Area 51 today. Is that why you have a tie on? Oh, Area 51. Never. That's funny. You say Area 51 though. No, it's just. I had a show on today with Space on Radio. Dressed nice. And what else here? Also, what else do you guys have for me here? Have you done any healing work, and what's your mode of choice? Yeah. It's not like it's like healing work with it's been like a lot of like energetic work and connection with the spirit and whatnot, but like a lot of holistic stuff, what I've learned from centuries, right? Like teachings passed on, connections with those. Like I said, there's things that are, people like that help us cure certain ailments and things like that have been part of life and whatnot. But other than that though, it's been, like I said, with healing and stuff like that too. Sometimes it's just like I said, cleansing the energy and stuff like that so like there's no soul attachments or any spirit attachments from any dimensional that may be trying to linger or cause trouble in somebody's life, from people getting back pains and stuff like that, or things like that, even, rashes and things people have gotten, these dimensionals cause.
You got a lot of questions, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. People love you. They love your knowledge. Let's go to Sovereign. Travis, does your Cree Nation reject the erroneous land bridge origin theory?
There's always that theory, right? But no, we've been out here for the test of time. Like that whole land might have existed. There are tribes and cities that existed alongside there, even like prior to all that, like that been there, prior to the whole ice age and land bridges and everything. So like it's been that, but our people have always been here in the lands and amongst the this area, living for thousands and thousands of years. So
all right. Shaq wants to know, do you have any stories from the Nahanni Valley, the Headless Valley in Northwest Territories?
Yeah. We one time there was an ancient war, and we're more connected like the Cree people, and we're connected with a lot of the Bigfoots, and one time the Vikings were fighting the fighting the Inuits in the northern like the ice people, like the little people, and they called upon our help. So we showed up in a big, massive army, and there was actually Bigfoots walking with us too, and scared all the Vikings away. And literally, they were freaking out and writing in their like, and you could find this in history where they wrote like the natives had ice giants walking with them and stuff. And yeah, there's all these like cool stories that have happened over time with them too. Like I said, it like their stories go back very ancient times. Like they've even talk about oases as far in the north that they've come from and originated from. Everything to like even like the funniness of like how some of their animals, like when you're out there hunting, and the seals, they know you're out there hunting, so they'll mess around, and they'll make you, like the older experienced seals will make you try to take shots at them. They'll tease you and stuff because they know they can duck down and get away from your shots and everything. And yeah, little tricksters and stuff. Yeah, like it's kind of funny, but yeah, there's a lot on that out there.
Well, did you ever, getting back to the Nahanni Valley for a second, do you believe those are some sort of monster type creature, or is that some sort of First Nations tribe that doesn't want to, have any sort of public contact?
Well, a lot of those places have been untouched for thousands and thousands of years. Even like, some of the tribes that have existed for over thousands of years still may reside out there. And, going back, like I said, we're around on this side of the continent since the Mastodon era. You know what I mean? Like we're hunting and walking around with woolly mammoths and stuff like that. So like there's a lot of like, I should say like, almost like Stonehenges that like located around the areas in Lake Michigan and stuff like that, and that have these markings from native peoples. And like I said, our people have had these depictions of drawing dragons and all these things like on the walls that are found around the Jasper Mountains and all these different mythical creatures. There's like I said, there could be tribes out there that are still the man-beast tribes that have existed from thousands of years ago, maybe still living and walking out there, existing in that area, hunting. It's a total possibility.
That's interesting. Very interesting. Let's see if there's any other questions for you here, buddy. Sovereign wants to know, did the Cree make flour out of acorns?
Yeah, there was a lot of different ways to we went about making our traditional stuff, and a lot of different ways that we've have our recipes, and involving the lands, and just the natural syrups, and things that exist. And there's we use, like I said, there's a list of recipes and things that we've used. I do have a book somewhere here, but I'm not offhand. But there's different ways that we've came up with it. Even like natural rices that we have out in the waters in Canada, and like right down to natural, finding natural vegetables in the woods, and all these different little things that are out there. It's all in the nature, man. There's even tobacco that we use that is in like what you guys think tobacco is, you know what I mean? Like, there's different things, there's a whole bunch of different things out there that we've, that are very different than what people consider the norm today. But yeah.
Well, I can see that. That's for sure. Give me 2 seconds here. With you being a monster hunter the way you are, how often are you called away from home to deal with some of these creatures?
Like as of lately, it's been picking up more. So I've had to, over the last few years, I've had to gain more focus into this, into my teachings again, and really hone in a lot of these skills, and really dive deeper into some of these dimensions, like you said, exploring some of these realities, and using my inner sight to actually see these worlds, because regular sight, it just doesn't see that, right? So
Right.
are interacting with our energy fields too, because our energy can feel that too, and trying to sense the certain color spectrums they're just feeling, but yeah, like with looking at reality in the sense, I've been getting a lot more calls, not only but here, but also across, like from other areas. Like people will ask me to help them out astrally, so I could do that too. Like on that astral realm, I can actually interact out there in the world and clear things out from it. I don't even have to be in a person's place, but if it's that bad, like sometimes I do make a visit there, and I will clear it out with using things of nature in that sense, and those combinations and whatnot.
All right. There's a really good question here. Tony, who's from the UK, is asking if you could explain to him the meaning of totem poles.
Oh, yeah. These are guides, spirit guides. Sometimes they're people, sometimes they're, like, most of the time they're animals, sometimes they're mythical beings, creatures, dimensionals, you name it, man. And these are beings that come to you throughout your life. You either get them in ceremony, like I said, for example, that guy that got the Bigfoot that came to visit him, that would be one of his totems, and these beings, they'll come visit you as you experience more of these, I should say, more of these connections in life. When you make these connections and more of these things start to appear to you, you know what I mean? Whether it be a raven coming around to, give you a message, or not give you a message, but just to come and show its presence, to say that, that that's there, or even like, it could even be thunder or lightning, or even could be even, these, but like I said, these things come in ceremonies that that are usually there presently. What I mean by ceremonies is, like, sometimes, like, somebody will be out in a fast house and it'll just thunder or rain, but that's usually a sign for them, their connection to thunder and rain or water, wind, or like, these are these are things like that we experience in life, and that they come to you in that way, in that sense. But sometimes they're more apparent, and like you'll and it varies for different people around the world. Like sometimes people have, like, for their area, like they'll have something else, like, completely different. Maybe it'll be like a panda bear or something, or or there'll be like a Komodo dragon, or like there's different totems for different for parts of the different parts of the world, I should say. So
How do when you're out in the forest and you are tracking, say, a creature, let's say a Bigfoot or a dogman or something along those lines, but all of a sudden you are caught up with, say, bears or cougars or something along those lines, how do they react to when these creatures are around, or they're in that territory?
So I've no, they're kind of like on the same, like they're on a cautionary kind of thing too. Like they're usually they're it's still like a kind of like respecting the distance of every animal, right? And not betraying those boundaries and getting to into the personal level. But it's really a balance of not letting your own fear get the best of you out there, and like attracting that, because like if you're calm and collected, most of the time the animals, they'll leave you alone. I did have bear encounters out there and stuff, and most of the time they just took off the other way and left me alone. But like or I'll start speaking Creedom as they're going off. But anyway, but it's like I said, there's a whole level to when you're out there, you'll feel the difference if it's like a Bigfoot or some sort of like beast. You'll smell it, the death smells and all the sort of kind of rotten, but or say a Bigfoot smells a little more grungy, more like mud, and like kind of like a very like a musky dirt smell kind of deal, like like you're in the garden a lot or something, like in that kind of like earthly kind of scent. But there's a lot of that, right? And or you'll feel the area change difference. You'll hear the creatures, and that's the last thing you want to hear, though, is any of the the evil, what I'm talking about, right? But yeah, because you hear that, then it's like you better you get ready to fight it, and you don't want to get your ears blown out by it screaming, and then you want to get it before it, screams at you, try to freeze you.
True. My friend, it's that time where we're going to call it the night. So thank you so much for being with us, my man, and filling in on the Cryptid. Appreciate you, my man.
Yeah, it was spectacular. Thank you for having me. It was awesome. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Stay great out there. Excellent.
Absolutely. And tomorrow night on the show, Vivienne Chauvet will be with us. We are going to be talking about Arcturian healing. Healing from the aliens. Should be a good one. And thank you so much, my friend, for joining us. We really do appreciate it again. Excellent.
Yes, much love for the Arcturians out there and all the Pleiadians and whatnot. So I'm excited for them. All right.
Absolutely. And a big
thank you, Dave.
You too, my friend. You take care. And a big thank you tonight to our super chatters, Cat Chaser, Sally, Deb, Human Carl, Kira, Nancy, and Maggie for great support. Thank you, Derek, for adding on in. We greatly appreciate the love and support, everybody. So thank you. And get your info in if you haven't already to spacedoutradio@gmail.com for our Vegas event. And hopefully I'll get a haircut soon. This is looking ridiculous. But we'll talk to you tomorrow night, everybody.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.